Fans, it's great to have Rick Robin back with us. Rick Robin Construction, Napa.com. Rick, it's great to have you with us. Last year, a major honor for you. You're the Napa Contractor of the Year. How about that?
Yeah, it wasn't any advertising or anything. The customers voted, and I finished number one.
I love it. Napa Valley Contractor of the Year. Rick, the things you specialize in, it's things that people need, and you take it from beginning to end. Let's go through the list.
We specialize in kitchens and baths. That's our main source. We do whole home remodels, brand new homes. We do ADUs. We do all your construction needs. Anything you need, just give us a call.
And the phone number is 707-332-7575. And, of course, on the web, it's Rick Robin, ROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, great to have you back with us. I look forward to a great season with you.
Oh, it's going to be great. Give us a call and talk to Tammy. If you like our quote, we'll take you down to our showroom. We'll pick out all your material and look forward to work with everybody.
Fans, the things I love about Rick, he does all the work. That's for me.
Seam heads. Our Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
diving, he makes the catch,
and bats start cracking,
it is gone.
We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
Great to be with you on this Sunday morning as we get ready for Game 3 between the Giants and the Nationals at Oracle Park. Series is knotted up 1-1. The Giants lose it yesterday 4-2 to Washington. This is a team that's got a lot of losses, but it's all pitching. It's the name of the game, and that's where it all starts and where it all ends. And Washington got some pitching yesterday from Brad Lord. He went 6. He's pretty good. He's a lot better than Jake Irvin, I'll tell you that, who they whacked around on Friday night. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run. Home run he did give up. We'll talk about Devers, who's hot as can be. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And Carson Whisenant on the other side, he'll get another start. He's shown enough. The fastball is straight. The sinker is straight. And he's got to have command, be able to put it where he wants to put it, to set up that changeup, and he couldn't do it yesterday. Ended up giving up 3 home runs and some no-doubters to James Wood, who's a heck of a player. You just keep throwing him sliders. You can get him, but for some reason the Giants ended up throwing him a curveball and then a sinker yesterday, and he took it the other way for a couple of big hits. But Paul DeYoung had a home run yesterday, and Josh Bell, who really struggles, had a home run yesterday as well. So Washington did win it 4-2, and the Giants 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. That is the story. And Washington, they were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So both teams had chances all day long, and they just couldn't come through. Washington has lost 6 straight to right-handed starters, and that is good news for Justin Verlander, who goes today. He's 42 years old. 1-8 on the year, but his last 3, as we'll talk about it today, 15 innings, 10 hits, just a couple of runs, 7 walks, and 14 strikeouts. So he's been very good. He keeps the Giants in the game, and against a team like Washington, which is really challenged offensively. Believe me, they are. This is a team that has a lot of trouble scoring runs and doing anything. As I say, they've lost 6 straight to right-handed starters. Verlander could have a good game today. Abrams is 2 for 6 off him. Adams 3 for 4 with a homer. Bell 4 for 8. Lowe 5 for 16 with a homer, and Young 1 for 3. But the story of this game today will be Mackenzie Gore. He's a lefty. He's 26. Now look, Verlander's 42. Mackenzie Gore is 26. 4-12 on the year with a 4.29 earned run average. Giants saw him earlier in the year, and he's been good against the Giants whenever he's pitched against them. 6 innings, a couple of hits, a run, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. But something has happened with Mackenzie Gore. This is an all-star caliber pitcher. He's a lefty. He came over in the Soto trade along with James Wood and Abrams from San Diego years ago, and he's been nothing but developing. And into a star for Washington. Well, 3 of his last 4 have been disaster. And Mark Simon of Sports Info Solutions, I'm sure will talk about this. 3 of his last 4, 10 and 2/3 innings, 28 hits, 22 runs, 6 homers, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. When you see someone of this caliber having that kind of trouble, I always think there's something wrong with him. But this is July and August for him. Prior to that, he was fine. You can jump on him early. First pitch, 18 for 50. Runners in scoring position, 284. But he's pitched well against the Giants in prior games. Adames 0 for 4, Bailey 2 for 7, Chapman 0 for 4, Devers 0 for 6. How about that? Flores 2 for 9. Good to see him back with a homer. Lee 1 for 2, Ramos 2 for 6. Boy, he gets on base all the time. Had a couple of hits yesterday, 2 for 6 with a homer. And Casey Schmidt 1 for 7. So as you can see, Mackenzie Gore has pitched well before. The Giants are still very much alive. This is the time of year. It is August. This is when baseball shines. And I know I tweeted out this week, people are thinking about football and who's the right tackle for the 49ers, and is Moody going to be the kicker, and how's he going to do? But this is the time of year for baseball when things happen, when teams have to win, where you start the scoreboard watching, where you know how many games are left, 45 to go. You better, over the next 15, you better win a majority of them and keep in the race. But this is where baseball starts. Books are written about teams that go down the stretch, that win 19 of 20, that come back from nowhere and get in the playoffs or win a pennant, as I like to say. So this is a good time for baseball, and it's a big time for the Giants to win this game today and get ready for San Diego. And they've got Logan Webb lined up and Robbie Ray lined up and Tang, who pitched well Friday night, lined up on Wednesday. And they get Cortez, they get Darvish for San Diego. So they've, San Diego's still, they're starting, the bullpen is great, but San Diego's starting pitching is very vulnerable. So this 3-game series, which starts tomorrow night, is going to be a big deal, and it's a big deal for baseball this time of year. A couple of things to mention. One, of course, we send our love to Greg Papa, and I know Pop listens to the show, and I love texting back and forth with him. He's doing his best he can, and we love you, and I know you're going to get well and get past this thing as soon as you can. So, Pop, good to have you with us this morning. Also now on Wednesday, and this is very important because Woe and I don't do this stuff that often. We're going to do our show up at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room in Yountville on Wednesday. And it's from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a day game Wednesday against the Padres. And then after the game, you can come by in Yountville. And tickets are at priestranchwines.com. And you get a glass of Sauvignon Blanc or a non-alcoholic beverage, whatever you want. You can get little plates, little hors d'oeuvres from the kitchen next door, which is the kitchen at Priest Ranch, which is absolutely terrific. So tickets are available at priestranchwines.com. And as I say, Woe and I don't do that this often, but it's something we love to do once a year for the Priest Ranch folks and River Islands folks who are connected up there as well. So take a look, get tickets, and come up and be with us on Wednesday. That is this Wednesday up in Yountville at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room. So we'll be glad to have you up there for that. Baseball today, Cincinnati is 2.5 behind the Mets. The Mets have lost, 10 of 11. They have just really fallen apart. They've lost 10 of 11. They're booing Soto like crazy. They're barely hanging on to this third wild card spot. They're 2.5 ahead against Cincinnati. The Mets play Milwaukee today. Priester, who's won 10 straight. Boy, got to go back to Cal Eldred for the last time that happened for Milwaukee. Manaea for the Mets today. For Cincinnati, it's Zach Littell. Remember him? He is going today. And for Pittsburgh, it is Burrows. By the way, next weekend, Tampa Bay comes in. They don't hit a lot. So there's a lot going on Then the Giants go on the road, San Diego for 4 and Milwaukee for 3. And for me, that's going to be the season right there, these next couple of weeks. This is really where it's all about. The Dodgers walloped Toronto yesterday. Ohtani hit his 40th home run. And today the Dodgers are back out there with Glasnow against Lauer, the lefty for Toronto. So that's what's going on there. But a lot of things happening in baseball. This is the time of year things do happen. Rafael Devers, boy, how about that? Finally, he looks like the hitter we expected. And we'll talk about this runners in scoring position thing today. The Giants have too many 230 hitters. And when you got 230 hitters coming up in these critical situations, they turn into 230 hitters. I want to see 270, 280 hitters. And then this runners in scoring position thing will change quite a bit. But that Devers, 2 for 2 yesterday, long home run, walked twice. They could not get him out at all yesterday. So we'll see what Gore does with him today. As I said, he's 0 for 6 against Gore. But unfortunately, Bailey hit into that double play to end it. And that was the score yesterday, 4-2. We've got our contest going. Original Joe's. You can win dinner for 2 at Westlake, North Beach, or West Portal. And Raf runs this contest, and we have a second winner for dinner at Walnut Creek. The new Original Joe's is opening Thursday, this Thursday. It's going to be fabulous, and you've heard the spot here. And Raf will play that spot today to describe it for you. So we have a winner for that. Just guess the score at today's game. And then we have a rare, another contestant, not a rare contestant, but a random contestant for a dinner for 2 at Soto Mare in North Beach, which is a lot of fun to do that. So at Baseball Marty on Twitter, and you can join that contest. All right, we'll take a break. Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions next, right here on this Sunday morning, August the 10th, 2025.
Talkin' baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, I heard from Gene Bagato up in Bodega Bay, and he said that while it's been on the cooler side weather-wise, it's still been quite comfortable up on the Sonoma coast. At the Tides Wharf, patrons can enjoy the best seafood available, from creamy New England clam chowder and seafood pasta dishes to fried calamari and grilled fish. Boy, I'm hungry already. If the beach is your destination, the Fish Market offers whatever one needs for a picnic at the beach, while across the Great Hall in the gift shop, shoppers can not only find great souvenirs to take home, but also top-quality beachwear for the entire family. And if you're looking to spend a night or two, across Highway 1 is the fabulous Inn at the Tides, with its spacious, comfortable rooms, all with bay views and a heated pool and a hot tub spa. My goodness. So if you're looking for a great escape not far from the Bay Area, think no further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Fans, it's great to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants baseball. We're joined by Grant Power, the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, a quick question for you. What do you like for breakfast when you go to Nations?
My choice, I go with the two-egger, and I either go super crispy bacon or I go wild salmon. I substitute that in. I love both of those meat choices. I'm pretty much 50-50 on both of those. And then I go over medium on my eggs, and I ask for chopped onions on top of those. And then again, at 50-50, I go either French toast substitute or I go hash browns and toast. And if I go hash browns and toast, I almost always pick English muffin as my bread. Definitely do coffee, definitely do orange juice, and I'm always filled up. I usually don't need anything until a late lunch, and there are lots of wonderful breakfasts, but that's my top choice.
Well, I love it. All right, Grant, you're making me hungry. Thanks for being on. We'll talk to you again.
Always a privilege. You take care, Marty.
That's Grant Power, President, CEO of Nations.
Mark Simon. Mark, I love you, man.
All right, we know what that introduction means. That means Mark Simon is with us of Sports Info Solutions. His Mets are in trouble, but not Mark. Mark A. Simon says on Twitter, and we love having Mark on the show to talk about the analytical side of baseball and just baseball in general. For the Giants, they had a pretty good week this week, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Sunday game against the Mets to take 2 out of 3, since I guess we're referring to a week since the last time we talked. Taking 2 out of 3 from the Mets, hitting like crazy against the Mets in that last game, scoring 12 runs was good. You'd like to have the Pirate game back because that game was theirs, and then it was not. And then 2 good wins over Pittsburgh. Did what you're supposed to do, beat a bad team. A very impressive Kai Teng appearance on Friday night. A little bit of a slip, but I felt like they were going up against the Nationals' best on Saturday. So all in all, they're starting to hit. Devers is starting to hit. Ramos is hitting. Chapman got a hit with the runners in scoring position, which he hadn't been doing for a long time. And yeah, not a bad week.
Yeah, Devers especially today, Mark. 2 for 2 today with a couple of walks. And I just said to myself, Lord has no pitch to throw past him. In other words, he didn't swing and miss at all. He fouled off everything and finally got the home run. And it was a no-doubter for Devers. So Devers 2 for 2 today with 2 walks. They almost got to him in the 9th inning, but Bailey hit into the double play that ended the game. But let's talk about Whisenhunt just a little bit. He gave up the 3 home runs today. Wood went the other way. DeYoung just crushed one as well. And even Josh Bell got into it today. So for Whisenhunt, he's given up a lot of home runs since he's come up.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the thing that you would at least be encouraged by today that probably came as a little bit of a surprise was the 19 missed swings. That I was not necessarily thinking that was his game. 19 missed swings in a start is a very good Logan Webb start. So you take the positive. The first 2 starts too, like the positive from that was that the sinker ball didn't give up anything. He got out after out with it. Mets hit a bunch of fly balls, but they weren't impressive fly balls against him. Both of those first 2 starts, the sinker was really good. Less so today. Still developing, and I think you kind of take what you can get from him at this point, and you just evaluate as you go. The positive today is the swings and misses. The negative today is, boy, they hit some balls long, hard, and far.
Well, I'd give him another start.
Yep.
I think the Tampa Bay would be the next one, and
they're not hitting.
Yeah, and I'd give him a shot against Tampa Bay. I would, and I'd also give Tang another shot too. For what they both did. So a decent week for the Giants. They do lose today on Saturday. They did lose 4-2 to the Nationals. Let's talk about the Nationals just a little bit. Holy cow, what happened to them? This is it used to
be players left.
Yeah, they used to be dangerous. The little second baseman is out. The catcher is out. They don't do much. Once you get past Wood, Abrams, I think, has had 1 hit against the Giants all year. They just don't hit much. So for Verlander on Sunday, this, I think, bodes fairly well for him.
Yeah, it's a bad sign when Paul DeYoung, no offense to him, I'm sure he's a nice person. He should not be hitting third for a major league team, even against a left-handed pitcher. If he's hitting third, that's probably not the best sign. You look at the bunch of guys in the order, Millis, Lyle, House, and it's very much a who are these guys kind of scenario. It worked on Saturday. They hit the heck out of the ball. Like they had 11 hits. They probably could have 4 or 5 more. But yeah, but can I just say too, the guy that I really like is James Wood, and he was in a awful, awful, awful slump before he was before this series. He went like the exact stat was that he was 1 for 44 against breaking balls on his last whatever 100 number seen. 1 out of 44 for a hit, 43 that resulted in something bad happening before this series. And he got hits on breaking balls Friday, and he got a hit on a breaking ball Saturday. So he got out of it. I feel like he has the potential to be a star. I think he is I'm always amazed by the Aaron Judge, Frank Thomas, James Wood-esque build. He has a very impressive build. They put him in left field where defensively he can hold his own. I think he's going to be a really good player someday, even with all the strikeouts that he's had this season.
Well, they threw him 11 sliders in a row, and he missed every one of them. And then
he did get 1 hit, though.
And they threw him a curveball and hung it, Carson Seymour, and he whacked that one for a double, which turned out to be a big run that he scored. Washington on Saturday, 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
And still won.
Giants 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So it's one of those days. A lot of chances, but it just didn't happen. Let's get a little bit of Verlander. Mark, Verlander's last 3 games have really been very good. If you look at him, 15 things, he's gone after 5. The pitch count is up there, but he's given him 3 good games here.
Yeah, we've reached a point in the sport where 5 innings, 1 run is considered very good. That used to be a standard that we would say for like 6 or 7 innings, but now 2025 game, 5 innings, 1 run, 3 in a row. Very solid. Looks much better. Curveball has been good recently. My colleague Kyle actually did the Giants notes for tomorrow, so I'm looking at his information. The thing from the last start, the biggest positive, was that it was his best breaking ball of the season. It was an offer on the breaking ball, and he got a whole bunch of outs with it. He was very, very good with it. You hope that continues because right now he doesn't blow guys away anymore. So he's got to find a way to finesse his way through.
No, it's command for him, and as you say, when he can get the breaking ball over, he's still throwing in the mid 90s. He is. So we'll see what he does with Washington tomorrow. But for me, with Verlander, that 18 for 42 on the first pitch. It's good and bad for him because it keeps the pitch count down, but also an aggressive team will go after him.
Yeah, and scroll down. If you look at the numbers with 1 out versus 2 outs, it's funny. He is very good at getting the 3rd out of an inning after he gets the 2nd out of an inning, but boy, does he have trouble getting the 2nd out of an inning. Yeah. It's been rough this year.
Interesting. All right. The more compelling story is what the heck happened to Mackenzie Gore. And I've watched baseball for a long time. And Mackenzie Gore is a young man. He's all-star caliber. He's 4-12 on the year now. And up until the end of July, he was terrific. And I must say, I love the numbers, but 3 of his last 4 games, 10 2/3 innings pitched, 28 hits, 22 runs, 6 homers, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. What has happened to Mackenzie Gore? He was terrific.
Yeah, I find that when that happens, the answer is simply everything. Like for all the times that I've looked up stuff for John and Dave, whenever a pitcher goes into kind of what you would call a bad way, generally it's everything. If you look at his last start, these are the numbers against his 4-seam fastball: 7 hits, 10 at-bats, 2 home runs. and he was throwing at 95. It's not like he wasn't throwing it. It's not like he was throwing at 92, 93. So I don't know what the heck happened in that game. Game before that, they hit the fastball as well. Game before that, doesn't look like it was as problematic for, well, yeah, the game before that, 4 of 7 against the fastball. Everything is predicated right now on his fastball, which is getting clobbered. The appeal of the pitch for him is that he throws it for a strike a lot, like close to 70%. But right now it is just getting tattooed wherever he throws it.
Yeah, the team lost 16-7, 9-1, and 8-1 in those 3 games that I'm talking about. So he did see the Giants earlier in the year, 6 innings, couple of hits, a run, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. And they've seen him before, and he's given them trouble before. Looking down the list to see who hits him, Bailey 2 for 7, Ramos 2 for 6 with a homer, and that's about it, really, for the history here. So this is going to be interesting tomorrow. 26-year-old Mackenzie Gore against 42-year-old Justin Verlander. That's a baseball game.
Yep, that's about as big an age differential, by the way, as we had in the booth the other day on Sunday when I was working with John Miller.
Yeah.
I do want to say I got to do an inning with John. It was a life highlight to be able to do that, to get to work with a guy who was honored by the Hall of Fame, and he was great to me. The funny thing that he said, we can say it here, he introduced me basically as the owner of Sports Info Solutions, which I am very much not. I am just an employee. So I enjoyed that John did that.
Did he say, "We love you, Mark"?
Yeah. No, I think that you only get that once a year.
All right, we get that in our open. What about this Dre Gilbert, the little lefty?
True, yeah, true.
The outfielder Becker used to play. He sort of physically looks like him. What do you think of him in his first couple of games here?
Yeah, he looked okay. He looked maybe slightly overmatched from what I saw, and I saw more of the first one than the second one. He made that great catch. Give him credit for that. He's not someone that has played right field a lot in his life, so that was an impressive play. And I think he's going to be challenged in right field playing it in San Francisco, because that's quite a perk to get a introduction to. If you went through the things that the scouts and such said about him at the time of the acquisition, the idea was 3rd, 4th outfielder type, 10 to 15 home run power. He's a small guy, and that kind of stands out when you see him. He's only 5'9", but I'll reserve judgment through 2 games. He certainly looked good in Sacramento. He was 7 for 14 with 6 walks. They had to call him up.
Yeah, he's bulky. He's a bulky guy. I can't think of Becker's first name.
Rich Becker?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like him. As an outfielder. So we'll see what happens. Becker could hit a little bit. All right, coming in next to the Padres. They're winning, but they're not playing great. They're not hitting great. The Giants will not see Pivetta, that he just pitched against the Red Sox. Giants, Padres, this is a big week.
Yeah, they won't see Cease either. I know that he's pitching on Sunday. I don't particularly like the Padre-Giant matchup. Padres have won 4 of 6 so far. I just feel like the Padres have advantages at a lot of different positions, whether it's third base is even, but first base with Luis Ariz, who's started to come around a little bit. Tatis in right, obviously big advantage for them. Jackson Merrill in center, if he's going right, that's a big advantage for them. I'll be curious to see, because Darvish is going to pitch in this series, and he looked fantastic against the Mets. But in his last start, he only went 4 innings, and he has barely pitched this year. And you would figure he's someone that is important to them, as is Michael King, who they're just getting back. Those are 2 important pieces to a playoff rotation with Cease and Pivetta and such to be ready for the playoffs. So I think that would be the thing that I would be watching in this series, how Yu Darvish does against the Giants.
Well, the other thing is the Giants have set up Webb and Ray to pitch those first 2 games. So that's what we see. And then I guess maybe Tang, if it goes back to him on Wednesday, if we see how they do it. But it's certainly comforting to have Webb and Ray going at home.
Absolutely. And if you're going to, I feel like it's a very difficult thing to play the idea that they're in the race. But if you are someone that holds out hope for something like what the Tigers did last year, it's a mammoth series. It's a sweeper or not series for them, for the Giants, essentially, to try and claw back in as far as the wild card goes.
Well, this is when the stories are made. I've said this on Twitter. This is when they write books about teams, and it all starts in August. It's sort of the spawning ground, and we'll see what happens. There's 45 games to go, and they're 3-4 games out of that third wild card spot, and they do have the pitching to deal with it. So we'll see what happens. But then the Rays come in. Do we know anything about the Rays? They have a guy who's very fast. I know that.
Yeah.
But do we know they have
Sure.
Griffin Jacks closing now? They did pick him up. What do we know about the Rays?
So Tampa Bay is under 500 at the time that we're talking, but they have a significantly positive run differential of about plus 40. So they're clearly doing something right. Junior Caminero hits very long home runs. He's got more than 30 this year. He hits bombs, but he doesn't walk. His batting average is low, so the on base is below 300. He's a 500 slug, 300 on base guy. Chandler Simpson is the guy that you're talking about with the speed. He's hitting close to 290. He's probably the fastest player in the sport. He's stolen 30 bases in like 70 games. He's very impressive, but he does not walk a lot either. It's either slap single for him or he doesn't get on base. He can get a lot of infield hits. They also have probably the best defensive shortstop in the sport right now. Taylor Walls has had a terrific season. He can't hit either. His OPS is about 600. So that's a few things to watch. Caminero hitting bombs, taking a mark at left field, Chandler Simpson sprinting, and Taylor Walls fielding. I'll give you those three as things to watch for Tampa Bay.
Well, here we go again. These teams don't hit a lot, and it seems like every game that we watch, it's 3-1, 4-2, 5-3, and the Giant games, there's 1 or 2 runs. So 70 odd games out of 115 have been 1 or 2 run games. So it looks like the same thing this weekend. Sunday is special. There will be a female umpire who umpired on Saturday, but she will be behind the plate in the Marlin Atlanta game. How about that?
Yeah, Jen Powell, I want to say that, hey, it's about time. If you look compared to the NBA and the NFL, this is something in which baseball was lagging behind, but they had telegraphed in the spring that this was going to happen at some point during the year. I'm glad that it did. I am sure that that game will be very closely watched, or has been by the time that game has been very closely watched. Braves and Marlins on the East Coast. And I hope she does very well. I look forward to I always give the 4 guys in the booth the umpire scouting report. I look forward to doing that if she happens to get a Giants game this year, and treat her just as we would treat any ump in the sport.
Well, this will be interesting tomorrow. Baseball is always slow to do things. Believe me, baseball is the slowest sport to get anything done. And they finally have a woman umpire.
Yep.
All right, Mark, thanks so much as always. We'll talk to you next week. Tampa Bay, San Diego this week, and it's still plenty of time.
Yep.
Plenty of time. This race has got a long way to go. So have a good week, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you much.
All right, that is Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. Bruce Jenkins next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hi, it's Marty Lurie reporting in from my latest visit to River Islands in Lathrop. If you're wondering why River Islands is the most successful lifestyle community in Northern California, let's look at it by the numbers. Listen to this. 15 neighborhoods are now being offered to suit a wide range of home sizes and prices, from the low $600,000s to over $1 million. There are 7 new lakeside neighborhoods with docks for fishing, kayaking, and paddleboarding. You know, I love that. A dozen parks, playing fields, and playgrounds are already open, and don't forget Islanders Field. For 55-plus active adults, Del Webb has its own master plan within the master plan with its own private clubhouse. Construction of the first town center has begun. How about that? With plans for shopping, healthcare, entertainment, and restaurants. River Islands High School and three K through 8th grade charter schools are starting their fall term this month. How about that? With so much to see and do, isn't it time for you to discover the islands? It certainly was for me. Go to riverislands.com. Fans, great news. If you enjoy Original Joe's, there's a new Original Joe's in Walnut Creek. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It is going to be fabulous. 300 seats, 13,000 square feet, 3 outdoor patios with 90 outside seats, a full exhibition counter and cocktail lounge. You know, that's the best. It's the first opening of an Original Joe's in 70 years in a new market. 9 years since opening in Westlake, so this is going to be fabulous. It will have a private dining room with accommodations up to 40 people, with its own private bar and patio. It fits Walnut Creek like a glove. This is going to be something else. I can't wait to do some events at the new Original Joe's in Walnut Creek.
Look through the window of the Original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us, Bruce Jenkins. Good morning. How are you today?
Okay, Marty, what's going on?
Good. Well, the Giants had a good week, and notwithstanding yesterday of 0 for 11 for Washington with runners in scoring position, Giants One 0 for 6, but no one could hit yesterday other than a few home runs. But they had a decent week of playing baseball. They're starting to hit again.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, right now you feel good about Devers. He's showing up for real. Schmidt's making hard contact. Jung-Hoo Lee's stepped out of his funk. Smith's driving in runs and Chapman. I mean, they've got what it takes to stay in this thing if those guys keep hitting. And those guys are pros. I'd be shocked if they all, if any of those guys had a huge slump. They all look pretty good right now. So that's huge because they got to pitch their way through this difficult stretch too. So yeah, I think you've got to feel pretty good overall about them.
Yeah, and I brought it up this week, and it's good to talk about it. I mean, sort of the sports world has changed. The emphasis has changed over the years, and we're now into the beginning of August. Football is starting, and Shondor Sanders is in the news, and who the kicker's going to be for the 49ers. But this is really when the baseball things happen, when the Mets lose 10 of 11, Milwaukee has won 8 straight. The Cubs are starting to struggle. The Yankee bullpen is a mess. These are the stories that you take from baseball that are the most important, and they start right now.
Well, yeah, I took a shot at watching the 49ers last night and the Raiders a couple nights ago. Just forget about it. Horrible. There shouldn't even be an NFL preseason getting in the way of anything. But I can't imagine anybody's watching that over baseball. Actually, I shouldn't say that because NFL is king. But for people like you and I and the listeners, the baseball is just like you say. There is so much going on. There's so much happening, with the Padres and the Mets and the Reds and everybody in the wild card race for the Giants. So it's just terrific. It's going to be an unbelievable September.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks with 7 with the Padres, Bruce. And, if you always talk about defining moments of a season, it's a marathon. Well, the marathon at some point becomes a little bit of a sprint. And for me, San Diego for 7, Tampa Bay in the middle of that for 3, and then the Brewers series there. To me, this is it for the Giants. They have got to play good baseball now.
Well, yeah, if you win five of the 7 games against the Padres or 6, I don't think they're going to sweep them. But you don't really want to break even in that and find yourself still, 6 games behind them. They're awfully good. And the Padres, it's going to be really interesting. Their bullpen, their new bullpen's been worked pretty hard. I don't think they want to use Miller or Suarez today, so they're fresh for the Giants. But the Padres had a crazy game at Fenway yesterday. They've got the lead. Here comes Estrada. He strikes out 5 in a row. Morahan does well. Miller, the A's guy, former A's guy, comes in, strikes out 2, and they leave it up to Suarez. It's all looking good. And all of a sudden, Roman Anthony, the great young first baseman for the Red Sox, doubles home a run off Suarez, and now the Padres are even again. But they pulled it out pretty quickly in the bottom half. But the Giants against that bullpen is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it will be because Darvish is no world beater. He did have a good game against the Mets his last time out. And Nelson Cortez comes back, and he's been getting, obviously was knocked around quite a bit and has been hurt all year. And then Pivetta, I guess, comes back on Wednesday, and the Red Sox knocked him around. So if you could stay away from the Padre bullpen, you have a decent chance of being in the game with them because their starting pitching does not just knock you down.
Yeah, they did get Michael King back yesterday for the first time in months. He pitched a couple innings, neither here nor there, but if he comes back, that helps him a lot. Cease goes today. They did well to not trade him because they're going to need him if they want to catch the Dodgers or make sure they get the wild card. So. Yeah, like I say, Darvish is in and out, and the Giants. If they counter with Webb, Ray, and Verlander, that's a great 3-man anchor for you, and obviously a big start today for Verlander, who's had 3 good ones in a row.
Yeah, this is going to be some series coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it. Looking at different things in baseball, though, Pete Alonso. Boy, was he excited, and he hit home run number 252 of his career, and he tied Darryl Strawberry for the lead in the franchise, the New York Mets franchise. And I like Pete Alonso, Bruce. I don't know why. He's a good part of the story of baseball. He was so happy yesterday to hit the home run to Ty Strawberry. Now, the Mets have lost 10 of 11. They're getting booed like crazy. Soto, all he does is hit solo home runs. But Pete Alonso was the beacon of happiness for me yesterday.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes. I mean, the Mets fans are not delighted in any stretch. But I know you and I both wanted to see him wind up with the Giants somehow during the off season. He's just a full-on legitimate power hitter. He's a Kyle Schwarber, and he's really tough when it matters. You know that the Mets. You think about Tyler Rogers, okay? His last 6 games with the Giants, they lost them all. They're 0-6. Now he gets traded to the Mets. They've already lost 3 straight. Now they can't win a game, but he's had 5 outings, 5 really good outings. He comes in. Yep. Yesterday he comes in, 3 straight ground balls. Hey, terrific. But then the rest of the bullpen took out. They lost a run. They lost a third out, a huge third out against Milwaukee yesterday. Because of a pitch clock violation. Oh, well, that's not the third out. We'll start over, and then Contreras hits a 2-run homer. I mean, the Mets are really almost snake bit right now, and Rogers is one of the few guys who's really coming through on the pitching staff.
Yeah, they've lost 10 of 11, and they got Manaea today against Priester for Milwaukee. You know, how about Milwaukee, Bruce? They've won 8 straight. And I guess they're in their City Connect uniforms. They won't take them off because they haven't lost a game with them. I'm watching every night. I said, gee, they seem to have this uniform on every night.
Yeah, they're sleeping in the unis now, which is really interesting. They got them on with their Cheerios in the morning. But they're like 30. They're 33-9, Marty. And every time I've been watching them a lot lately, and they have power. They do the little things. They got pitching. They've got everything it takes. Woodruff's pitching great. That kid Mizorowski is actually out for a while, but they don't need his spark anymore. They just Andrew Vaughn and Contreras, Jackson Churio, he's hurt also. But I mean, it's like they lose Churio and Mizorowski, and nothing has happened negatively. They just keep winning. They're deep and they're very, very good.
Yeah, good story. It's a good story, and the Giants have them coming up as well. So that's part of this 2 weeks, I think, that'll define the season. It finally will be defined for the Giants. Devers is starting to hit, Bruce. Yesterday there was nothing that they could throw that he couldn't catch up to, and it was nice to see it. I mean, that's a hitter. And I realize he swings and misses, and a ball that's up and in on him, but he's more often than not looking like the hitter we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, that's huge. I felt so good for him to not only hit a home run to Triple's alley, but like way out. I'm sure when he hit that one, he goes, "There's no way that one stays in the park." That's no park can hold that. Really great power. He had another homer earlier this year when he reached down with one arm and hit one out. So his power's great. He's delighted to be playing some in the field. He hasn't really been hurt him out there. And he's got a smile on his face, so that's an awfully big thing. That was Buster's big move, and nothing happened for the good. As soon as it happened, they kind of went into a tailspin, but now it's all coming back to him, and he's going to have to keep doing this, and they're going to stay in it.
Yeah, he is. And, I said it on the Open today. They have too many 230 hitters.
Oh, yeah.
230 hitters can be pitched to in big situations. That's why this runner's in scoring position, whatever it is, 1 for 11, 0 for 6, whatever they do. 230 hitters, you can get out. A 280 hitter, like an Arise or someone like that, can put the ball in play when he has to do it. And that's what Adames has got to do and Chapman. They've just got to do that. Even though they're hitting in the 230s, you got to hit and be able to put the ball in play. And that's the key for me.
Yeah. Doesn't it always seem that the last out comes down to Bailey? He's always up there for the last out, and it doesn't always work out too well. But I think Adames and Chapman are huge because, everybody knows when those guys, hit the ball out, they're such great guys, great teammates, and the dugout's going crazy. Just everything feels good, but a lot of at-bats are kind of empty, and they got to fill up. Those are two guys, mainstays of the team as we go down the line with these guys, but so many guys have to come through, and those are definitely two of them.
Well, big players step up, and that's my whole point of today. Big players step up this time of year. Look at Dom Smith. Dom Smith is a 280, 290 hitter, and when he's got to put the ball in play, he does it, and that's the difference. And I won't belabor it anymore, but you gotta have a little bit better batting average. That's what I want to see. Ichiro's had quite a week. It's been a lot of fun to watch all the accolades going his way. They've retired his number. They've got they take pictures with his Hall of Fame plaque. It's such a big deal. It's a good part of baseball. I like it.
Oh, what a great day in Seattle. They retire his number, and fans are going crazy. They got a really nice win. Raleigh hits number 44.
Wow.
Julio Rodriguez hit 2, and I'm just really loving that race. They're still a half game behind Houston. They've got Correa back, and they're on a bit of a roll. And don't rule out Texas. Boschi's team's got the veteran pitchers, DeGrom and Eovaldi, but I think Seattle wins it. I think their lineup is very, very deep. They got lots of power. They've got more 280 hitters than 230. That's for sure. That look.
Well, It's
and they pitch. They've always pitched, and the rotation hasn't been quite as good. But if it does come around, they're going to win that division.
Judge 339. The next National League hitter is 305.
Oh my
and little
God.
Xavier Edwards sneaked in there at 303. But the doubles Witt has got 37. I think our guy is safe. Webb for Boston from 1935 or something safe. Raleigh 96 RBIs, Schwarber 95. How about that race?
No, that's a good one. I mean, Schwarber's just that guy's ridiculous. I wouldn't bet against him for anything. Every time you see him on the highlights, he's just jacking one out. But the batting average race is not thrilling. Let's put it that way. When you can count 300 hitters on almost one hand is really kind of sad.
Yep, it's a big part of baseball. It's got to change. There's a home plate umpire today, a female, Jen Powell. How about that?
No, it's delightful. I mean, it should have happened before. There should be 4 or 5 females working the bigs. Why not? And she's exactly what they wanted. She's solid. She's got the good face. She's unflappable. She speaks well. She's humble, but she's also very confident, and she knows her stuff. So she's going to be a pioneer, and there's more to come.
Well, baseball is one where they scream at the umpire and all that. This is going to be interesting. It is, and the magic words and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have to see how this works out. Baseball is a little different. It's different than basketball and football for the umpires. It's just a different kind of game. The Nationals are in town. I always call them the Senators. Reminds me of the historical note today, which is wonderful. What a great power hitter they had in Harmon Killebrew, who was recommended by one of the senators in Idaho to be signed by the old Washington Senators, and he became an icon of the franchise.
Yeah, he's a simple life kid from Idaho, and great power, a four athlete star in high school, and he dreamed of playing for the Red Sox because he always wanted to play in Fenway, but they couldn't. The Red Sox couldn't match the Senators' offer, which was $6,000 per season for 3 years and a $4,000 signing bonus. The Red Sox couldn't match it, so Killebrew doesn't live his dream, and he plays for really a terrible Senators team. They were terrible for years, decades, centuries. But they've built a really nice team around Killebrew. Pasquale and Jim Cott, Tony Oliva, Rod Carew, the Mudcat Grant. They got in the World Series. But Killebrew, he was, to me, he's like a right-handed Schwarber. He's just up there. He's just an absolute rock. You can't move him. He's just a compact, powerful swing, and just boom, so consistent. Always hitting 40-plus homers. And we're celebrating today. I mean, this day in baseball, he hit his 500th. And 500 homers it's awesome. It seems a little less mind-blowing over the years when guys like Palmeiro and Ortiz get in there. But at the time when he hit his 500th homer, there were only 4 other guys with 500. That was a huge deal. And he winds up with 573, which was good for 10th. It was good for 5th I'm sorry. Let me. He was the 10th player to hit 500, and when he hit number 573, he was 5th on the all-time list. But just to be among the only 10 guys that hit, he was one of the 10 who hit 500 at the time, which is really impressive, especially back then.
Well, a Washington star, and maybe this James Wood will, also become a big star there. But Killebrew was the guy in Washington. Then they, of course, moved to Minnesota. But it reminded me, of course, with Washington in town here. All right, well, let's see how Jen Powell does today as an umpire. That's the story for me. I hope that she has a good game and that it works out. But we'll chat with you next week.
Okay, Marty, talk then.
Okay, take care. Boy, what a day for baseball. Always a story. See, that's what I'm talking about. Baseball has always got a story every single day. All right, more coming up. The Professor next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Yes, it is. Right now and good through August 25th, you can save $500 on all wing-style chair and ottomans in the Stressless line, my favorite. This includes every base option available, from the original classic style, signature, and cross base to the power option as well. This is absolutely one of the best stressless sales offered all year. I own stressless furniture. The whole family owns stressless furniture. And I can tell you, and it's the truth, it's the most comfortable place to sit in my home. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Or even better, visit their 50,000 square foot showroom in South San Francisco. Vance Bridge Bank delivers their clients full relationship banking, including treasury management solutions and global market services. Bridge Bank offers financing solutions to businesses for their working capital, equipment, and real estate needs. This is very important in today's world. Fred Voss is the Senior Managing Director of Bridge Bank's commercial lending efforts in Northern California. He has commercial banking teams in San Jose with Jesse Garcia, San Francisco, Oakland, Cheadle, Cordova, and in Pleasanton. Bridge Bank, it's like banking at home. I can't say enough about it.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Lurie.
I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, we bring in the professor. Whoa, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Marty, and I was just listening to the intro. Who doesn't like an island, huh? Have you ever been to an island you didn't like? That's why you got to visit River Islands. It's an island with rivers.
Come on, I lived in Miami Beach. That's what it reminds me of, that you could go out and enjoy the fishing and the water. I grew up like that. That's why River Islands, for me, when I do these spots, I think of Florida and the communities that they built, and they've done it here in Northern California. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, anybody that's been to Florida, you have those intercoastal waterways, through the houses and all that. It's really, really cool. Calm water, right? It's not ocean water. And you're right. I never looked at it that way, but River Islands has all that and all the outdoor activity and the walking, et cetera. So, yeah, no, that's a great analogy, Marty. Great analogy.
Yeah, it's like Florida because here they have a dozen parks, playing fields, and playgrounds, and they have Islanders Field. When I moved there from Brooklyn to see playgrounds with grass and baseball fields with grass, I couldn't believe it. Everything in Brooklyn was cement. We played stickball in the schoolyard on cement, and to move to Florida to see parks with greenery and baseball fields like that, it was incredible for me.
Well, I know what you mean. I've taken my mom back to her childhood home several times in Brooklyn, and she showed me the same thing, the schoolyard where they used to play handball and softball, and you're doing it all on the concrete and blacktop.
Yeah, there was no blacktop for us. It was concrete, and that's what it was. But I could hit it out at PS 235. I went back to look at it and I said, all right, that was, I could hit the stickball out of there. That was fun.
Well,
that was fun.
Doesn't surprise me a little because you're a pitcher. We know your pitching prowess, but I didn't know you could hit them out as well. So I like it.
That was stickball. Hey, well, you and I have a very exciting moment coming up Wednesday, and I want everyone to understand that you and I do these shows once a year up at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room in Yountville. You go to priestranchwines.com and get a ticket. And it's Woe and I doing our thing, and there's a lot of interaction with the fans, and it's really a great event. It's this Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m., and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I always do. Yountville's a great town. You got plenty of food there right there at Priest Ranch with the charcuterie plates, and the kitchen is open, et cetera. But as you said, it's a fun event. You get to interact with the fans, and we get to tell stories and talk to them, take questions. But I love Yountville too, because usually I try to, get some dinner right after. It's a great town, so if you go to the event, you can kick around Yountville. But the real highlight for me, Marty, is the wines. The people that are wine lovers, because they do have great wines there at Priest Ranch. Winery there, or the wine room in Yountville. I mean, they have reds. They have every varietal you want. They got a lot of reds. They got whites. They got a rosé. They got a little bit something for everybody. And of course, you can drink those and taste them and have some food and listen to me and you do our thing.
Yeah, like we do it every Sunday. So it's good. This is a lot of fun. So it's coming up this Wednesday. priestranchwines.com. Check it out, and we'll have fun. This is going to be good. Well, I was thinking about this, watching baseball every day. It's August. It's that time, things are happening, and every game becomes important. You start counting down. I was thinking about spring drills, and I'm watching base running mistakes, outfield mistakes, and all sorts of things like that. Then I'm watching some really good plays. If you could do spring drills right now, what would you do with players to get them tuned up for this final stretch?
Well, to your point, I think, the disappointing part is, when you go through spring training and you go through all these drills, you don't always carry them forward throughout the season. In baseball, generally, back when I played, you didn't do that at all. But I think the game has evolved, and you mentioned base running. I mean, that's one thing you've always done throughout the season, guys on the bases. Because if you're not thinking about it, it's not in the forefront of your mind. You're not going to execute it as well. And so base running is one thing that you want to continue to do, and teams do a little bit of it, but nothing like you do in the spring. But probably the number one thing that you don't do as much of is, the fundamentals with the team fundamentals in spring training, the cutoffs and relays and things like that. But the one area that we have done even here in San Francisco, and a lot of teams do is a pitcher's fielding practice known as PFP. Yeah. And you get the infielders out there with that because, you think of a reliever or even a starter. I mean, they could go weeks without having a play or having to throw to second on a double play. And it's nice to, we practice so much in baseball every day. Everybody has a routine. And the pitchers don't have that routine of throwing to second routinely or fielding a bunt and throwing from third by side to first and with the speed of the runner. I mean, these plays are not easy all the time. So those are a couple of things that I think the focus could be on throughout the season if we would do more of them.
Yeah, that one for me, the little 3-1. That little pitch that's got to be made to the pitcher running to first base. And I saw it with Dom Smith yesterday. And he threw one to first base. I think it was him. And it was sort of like lobbed it up in the air. And I think it was Wisenhunt who made a nice play and tagged the bag. But, it's that play. You've got to be doing it correctly, because if you don't do it, you're going to hurt somebody and you're not going to get an out. To me, that's the key, is the pitcher covering first.
Well, they have to go over, and, they're trained in every organization to get over there. But a lot of these plays take a little bit of communication. Dom's really good at it. Look, he's a tremendous fielder. He's got a little flair, too. I love it. He reminds me of Omar Vizquel in a lot of ways. He's so nonchalant with his hands and the way he fields things, but he's so confident and he's so good that there's no anxiety. He doesn't tense up ever on a tough play, and he makes everything look so easy. But I'll go back to the communication that I'm talking about. If you think about it, Marty, and it happens. We just had a trading deadline. Throughout a season, you get a lot of new players. So you may have half your team may be different than you had in spring training when you went through all these drills, drill after drill after drill. Now you have different personnel. They haven't worked together. The nuance of the communication. So typically we try to cover some of that with them, but you try to encourage the players to talk to each other to straighten these things out. This goes on constantly. So if you did do more of it, I think it could really help your fundamental play.
Yeah, especially this time of year, because one game can make a difference, and one play in one game can make a difference. Well, Ramos, the bat plays for me. It always has. There's just something about this kid that he just swings the bat. He does.
Yeah, he does. Look, he's strong. He has a nice, simple stance. And he's made himself a good hitter, Marty. He's had his ups and downs in the minor leagues offensively and, chasing and swinging. I'm impressed with the way he's been able to learn the strike zone and not chase as much. So, my hat's off to him because he is a force at the plate, and he's one of our better hitters.
Yeah, he does. He attacks the ball. And, not with a lot of power recently, but, boy, he's got hits all over the field, and I like what I see with him. The other one yesterday, was Devers, and it's worth talking about. We keep waiting for the Devers to show up. Well, he showed up yesterday, I'll tell you that. a couple of walks, a long home run, another big hit that he ripped through the infield. That was impressive for me yesterday with him.
Yeah, look, we knew that this guy was going to hit. I mean, he has a back of a baseball card that every player in the league would like to have, and it's only a matter of time. And you just don't know how every individual adjusts to going to a new team. But I think he's really getting comfortable. He's getting his feet on the ground here. I know he's speaking up a little bit more, about things. I've heard him do that. And, just not the hitting, but he made a couple of very nice plays. I think it was 2 days ago at first base in the game. So, I think getting comfortable at first base, getting comfortable with his new team, the city, and being here in San Francisco is a big part of it. And it's showing on the field.
Yeah, it is. And he's smiling, so I like it. But the hitter, when that lineup flipped and Ramos was coming up, I said, boy, if Bailey doesn't hit into a double play, which unfortunately he did, I said, Ramos is next, and then it's going to come to Devers. And that's what I texted out. And unfortunately, Bailey hit into the double play, and it never got that way. But that you flip that order to Ramos and Devers, and something is happening now. So I think we can see it on the field. Well, last night there was one of those plays in the Padre game where Bogarts tagged a runner who was coming in on a steal attempt, and he had the oven mitt on, and it looked like the oven mitt came off the bag, I swear, by a half an inch. And it looked like Bogarts even pushed him off the bag, and they reversed it. And I said, for replay, that can't be. You just can't have that for replay.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know if there's an easy solution to clean up, these plays at second when people come off the bag, or, they hit the bag, they beat the play, then their butt goes up in the air and they're off the bag for a split second, and the tag is on them. And I remember when stuff like that would happen, people were going, when we first had replay, baseball's not designed for that. I mean, should they make the bag bigger or something so you can grab onto it and hold on to the darn thing so you don't go off of it? But, it's always been around, right? I mean, you can't slide off a base going into second. So, but the replay does make it a lot different. And I'm still surprised that the oven mitts are so prevalent today and they're so big. There was a time, I think we've talked about it, where, they didn't want all this protective gear. It was an unfair advantage if that oven mitt is 2 inches, bigger than your hand, 2-3 inches. And it's a game of inches, Marty. We've heard that before. So, I'm surprised more guys don't put them on because it can't help you.
Yeah, it was crazy to have that reversed on that kind of play. It's not baseball for me. Mariano Rivera, the Yankees have the old-timers game. They brought it back where they played 2 innings. And, God, when I grew up, it was great to see, Joe DiMaggio and Bill Dickey and the all-former Yankees would come back. Well, Mariano Rivera is playing the outfield, and he ripped the Achilles tendon playing the outfield yesterday in an old-timers game. So it made me think, have you ever played in an old-timers game? When was the last time you played in a game?
Well, I haven't done that, but I have torn my Achilles, so we do have something in common.
Okay.
But I ruptured mine completely. We won't get into that. No, I've never played in an old. I think there was, God, I can't remember where it was at. No, I have not played an old timers game. And a matter of fact, I know Bam Bam has. I remember when we were in Arizona. And Arizona had their old timers games of former players, and after our game it was, and he came in the clubhouse and put his Arizona Diamondback uniform on and went out in the field, and he really enjoyed it. Giants, they don't have any old timer games, do they? But no. I know back east, the Red Sox, the Yankees, they do quite well. The Mets, the fans love it. They love that stuff, and it's an interesting point. But, no, I've never been involved with one.
Well, we'd like to see you hit. Come on, man, turn that double play.
Hey,
No?
Marty, you want to see
Okay.
me hit? Come out and watch me hit a fungo. I can hit a ground ball. I can tell you that. I can do that very, very well. And I could put it right where I want it. So that's what you want to see, not me hitting a live pitch.
All right. Padres are coming in. One last thing with you. Manny tried the hidden ball trick last night, and it worked. And he made the tag on the runner off third, but the pitcher was on the rubber, and they called a balk, and it didn't count. So how about that? You better watch out for Manny tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we're aware that they do it. My good friend Tim Ireland, and a lot of people may know his name. We've managed against each other for years in the minor leagues, and a great baseball man. He already texted me about that play because that was his move. Okay, so he played in the senior league. You remember the old senior league they had in Florida? So he didn't make a lot of friends down there. Number one, he led the league in hitting one year. And number two, he started a couple brouhahas because he was pulling the hidden ball trick, and he was really good at it on the seniors. And some guys didn't take to it. And but he was one of the best at it. I've talked to him over the years on how to do it and when to do it. And it can work. It can really work. And even with all the cameras we have, you can fool some people if you really put some thought into how to do it. You just got to keep the pitcher off the rubber. He can't be astride the rubber or on the rubber when you tag a runner out. So, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't know the rule there.
Yeah, all right. Well, that was last night with the Red Sox. All right, well, we'll see what happens. It's a good time of year, Woe. And we'll have fun Wednesday night and do a show just like this for a good couple of hours, and that's what it's all about. The stories of baseball, and it changes every single day. So who knows? Verlander, Mackenzie Gore. We'll see what happens today. So have a good afternoon, and I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting some questions, answering the questions, and having some of their great wines. So we'll see you Wednesday night, Marty.
All right. Well, have a good afternoon. Thanks.
You too.
All right. That is the Professor Ron Wotus on this Sunday morning. Glenn Kuiper next, right here with Kerry Crowley, who's ready to go to work, right here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader. Getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for more baseball here. We're joined by Glenn Kuiper and, of course, the great Kerry Crowley on our Giants warm-up. Kerry, good morning. How are you?
Oh, doing well, Marty. Always love our Sunday conversations with you and Glenn. How are you this morning?
Yeah, very good. I'm looking forward to the game and to see what Mackenzie Gore has, because the league has just walloped him. And Verlander's pitched well, and I turn it over to Glenn. How do you explain the Mackenzie Gore thing and what's happened to him?
I just looked up, his starts. I knew that he's been getting knocked around a lot. But you remember at the beginning of the year, he was just striking people out left and right. And, really one of the best lefties probably in the National League. But he's not striking people out anymore. I saw, I think the numbers I saw in his last 6 starts, he's had 19 strikeouts. That's it. So, something's up, obviously. And we'll find out today. Let's hope the struggles continue. But, the A's just pounded him in his last start. He gave up 8 runs and 12 hits in 3 innings. It's still a young guy, still very talented. You remember at the trade deadline, his name was out there quite a bit. But something's off with Mackenzie Gore, which, I guess it happens with young pitchers. It happens with everybody. But this is a pretty long stretch for him. It goes back, well over a month now where he has struggled. So I'm going to head out to the game after I finish with you guys. So I'll get a full scouting report for you too, okay?
All right, very good. Gary, Verlander today, I say it's this time of year. Big players step up. Devers puts a team on his back. Soto, if it's going to be the Mets, or if it's Ellie De La Cruz or something like that. August, for me, is the month. Baseball's a marathon, but it tightens up, and for me, August is the month. How about you?
Yeah, I've always felt that way, and really I started to learn about that when I first started covering the Giants and was sitting here out on the patio with you before home games. And, you talk about the veterans, how they come to life, how they lead second-half charges for teams, and you really start to see that. And so the teams that are headed toward the postseason, their veterans are stepping up, and for the teams that aren't heading toward the postseason, like the San Francisco Giants, you've seen disappointing performances in August from Willie Adames, from Matt Chapman, and from some of the other players. And so today's a big start for Justin Verlander. Obviously, he's looking for his second win as a team, or as a pitcher in a Giants uniform. But it's amazing to me to think about all the other opportunities that Verlander has had to win games this season for the Giants, and the way that this team hasn't surrounded him with the support that it has absolutely needed to provide him in some of the great outings that he's had. And so someone's got to step up today aside from Verlander, and whether that's Devers continuing his hot streak that he's been on this week. I know you just mentioned how great he was yesterday with Ron Wotus, whether it's Chapman turning things around or Adames turning things around. The Giants need more than one good player to pick it up at any given point in time, and they just haven't had that for any consistent stretch this season. So you'd like to see veterans lead the way, but at this point, they'll take anyone, Marty.
All right, well, how do you feel about the wild card race now? Let's face it, the Mets have lost 10 of 11. The Cubs have really slowed down. I know it's crazy to think it, but they've slowed down quite a bit. San Diego, the bullpen is outstanding, but they haven't had that big guy yet who's stepped up and said, I'm going to put you on my back. Maybe the bullpen is it for them. Cincinnati, you never know what's going to happen with Cincinnati. They've always got injuries. Hunter Green is out. Lodolo's got the blister. And then you come to the Giants. Why can't the Giants be very much in the middle of this thing and actually be sort of a favorite to get into it?
Well,
that's a great question.
Yeah. I don't know that they're favorites. Obviously, I think it would still take I think it would take a stretch, stretch of games where, we'd be talking about it for a while. You know what I mean? Where we look back and go, man, remember that August and September they had in 2025, because that's where they put themselves in the standings. But I don't listen. The Mets are just the craziest thing to me. How that team with all that talent can struggle like this. But it does happen, but they're in a bad funk. And I think Marty's right. We're not sure about the Reds, even though they do have good starting pitching, but, are they ready for this whole thing? So, I mean, I still feel like there's a chance for the Giants. I do. But, and I've said it before. I said it on my YouTube show, and I think you guys will agree with me. This homestand that they're on is by far the most important homestand of the year. And it has to be a 6-3 homestand. I don't think it can be worse than that because you can't keep spinning your wheels. At some point, you have to make a move. When this homestand is over, they got a brutal road trip where it's San Diego for 4, Milwaukee for 3. And you have to be playing good baseball going into that road trip. And if you're playing good baseball, for the next week and a half for the rest of this homestand, then you have a shot on that road trip. But I think they have a shot, but I think they got to go. They just got to go soon. And remember too, they don't have the tiebreaker against the Mets. They lost that. They're 2-4 against the Padres, so they're going to have to do a lot of work to get that tiebreaker there. The tiebreaker is an important thing because really, like even right now, you say, well, the Giants are 4 games behind the Mets for that third wild card, but they don't have the tiebreaker with the Mets. So really, they're 5 games back. So all those things start to come into play when you have, 45 games left.
Kerry, what do you think?
I think that they're not in the race. And until we see them force their way into the race, then I'll talk about the wild card race. But right now I'm talking about 2026. The Giants traded guys at the deadline. They didn't add to this team in any sort of meaningful way that's going to improve themselves this season. I think that the third wild card, and I said this yesterday on Giants warm-up, is the single worst thing to happen to Major League Baseball because it gives false hope. It's way worse than the extra runner on second base in extra innings. It's way worse than the bigger bases and all the rules that Rob Manfred has brought into this sport. To sit here on August 10th and talk about a team that's 59-58 and utterly collapsed in the month of July and think about their wild card potential. I mean, crazier things have happened. The Detroit Tigers did this last year. They got in. But the odds are stacked against this team, and they've done nothing in the last 3 months of baseball to suggest that they warrant being a part of the conversation. I think that it's incredibly unfortunate that this team hasn't been able to put things together, and we can dive into all the reasons that they've struggled, but they're not in the race right now. As Glenn said, they're really 5 back because the Mets are a team that holds a tiebreaker over them. The Cubs, they've slowed down. They're 18 games over 500 right now. The Giants are 1 game over 500. I just think, talking about the wild card race to me is an exercise in futility because the Giants haven't done anything in 2 to 3 weeks to suggest that they want to be a part of this wild card race. They lost to the Marlins at home. They lost to the Pirates at home. And today they're on the verge of losing a series to the Nationals at home, which would be inexcusable. So unless they go out and they sweep the Padres this week and take 2 or 3 from the Rays next weekend, then I'm happy to start talking about it. But they're not in this race, in my opinion.
All right. It's a good argument. I think they're starting to hit. I think they're starting to look different. I think Jung-Hoo Lee is starting to do things. He's starting to go the other way. Believe it or not, Bailey, even though he hit into the double play, is doing a little more. Schmidt is doing a little more. The first base situation is not killing him. Devers is certainly hitting the ball. I think the offense is a little better. I'm a little concerned about the bullpen because not having Rogers in that 8th inning for me has changed things. But they're starting to hit a little bit more. And this is a league that doesn't hit a lot. Now, the Brewers hit a lot, and you may take another team or two to hit. The Dodgers hit. But they are up against teams that don't hit a lot. And if you can pitch, and they do have 2 aces in Logan Webb and Ray, and Verlander gives them 5 innings. For me, the key is the 4th and 5th spots. Who is Wisenhunt? Is he a guy who can take you down the stretch? And what are you going to do in Tang's spot? And I'll throw that to you guys. The hitting for me is turned around. I think it's a lot better, and I think the starting pitching is still there if you ever got in a short series. But what do you do in the 4th and 5th spot? And now throw that to Glenn.
Well, I mean, I think you're going to get Roop back here soon, which is big. Now, can you expect Roop to go 7 innings, right out of the injury? No. I mean, but that's what you have. You have a talented pitcher, but he's a young pitcher, so they'll continue to watch him. But I like Roop a lot for now and for the future. So you're going to get him back. But again, I think the fair question there is, how much are you going to get from him? And more importantly, maybe how much length are you going to get from him? Because he wasn't pitching deep into games anyways, which is not uncommon for a young pitcher. So I think getting Roop back will help because he is a good pitcher. The Wisenhunt thing you're asking a young guy to dive right into, the month of August when you're trying to get going and trying to get in a race. I think that's asking a lot. I think he's a talented kid. I think we saw yesterday that, he's also not going to blow you away with his fastball. He has to have good location, and he did not have it yesterday. And, I think we saw what happened. But that's who you have right now as, probably your 5th starter. It's a chance for us to all see him, but it also, I think it shows that, right now to me, Wisenhunt, he's probably a 5th starter on a big league team. So that's to me is where you're at. I don't know if the Giants would do anything else as far as bringing somebody up. The Tidwell kid that they got from the Mets, do you want to do that and dump them right into the middle of August? That I don't know. But getting Roop back will certainly help. And then you may have to just stay with Wisenhunt and hope the kid learns. And if you're of the thought that Kerry is of where this is about 2026, well then this is a good thing because you can get a good look at Wisenhunt, and see if he is indeed part of your plan rotation for next year. I'm still thinking about this year and. Because it is an important, final 7 weeks for a bunch of different reasons. Getting Roop back will make a big difference because I like him and he's a pretty good pitcher, but you may not get more than 5 innings out of him in his starts.
All right, Kerry, where are you on the pitching?
Well, I think Glenn makes some great points there, and getting Landon Roop back is going to be critical for this team, in part because he is a big part of this long-term picture for the San Francisco Giants. I think when you start to think about the 2026 rotation, it's Logan Webb, it's Robbie Ray, and Landon Roop is going to be squarely in the middle of this thing with what he showed this season. I would just be very careful in managing his innings because you need that elbow to be healthy entering next year. You can't afford to mess around with that, and I think that the Giants will be. I think they'll be realistic. Glenn mentioned, you're not going to count on him for 7. Realistically, you might get him back for 3 to 4, but for the remainder of this season, the final 7 weeks, I want to continue to see Carson Wisenhunt, and I want to see Blade Tidwell come up to the major league level and show the Giants what he can do in a spot in the starting rotation or piggybacking behind Wisenhunt and Roop and throwing 4 to 5 innings at a time. And the reason that I want to see both Wisenhunt and Blade Tidwell is because the Giants, Marty, came into this season with a plethora of young arms. They said all of these guys, from Keaton Wynn to Mason Black to Carson Ragsdale to Carson Seymour to Hayden Birdsong, could all be starting pitchers for this club. Exactly. Johnny Carson at this point. They could all be starting pitchers for this club. And Roop's the only guy who is. Roop is the only player left who survived, who actually can start games. And so I think you need to learn about Wisenhunt. And if he can really get by in the major leagues with just 2 pitches that he trusts, because that slider is not there for him, and the changeup is great, but when you have 2 pitches, you're a reliever at the major league level unless you've got a really, really special second pitch. And I don't know that fastball is good enough to be that special for Wisenhunt. So I want to see him, and I want to see Tidwell. 98 with 2+ breaking balls in the sweeping slider, and then the truer slider that he throws. I think you want to see what he can give you. And, you hope to enter next season with a rotation of Webb, Ray, Roop, free agent signee or trade acquisition, and then a 5th starter competition, including Wisenhunt, including potentially Hayden Birdsong, including Blade Tidwell, and maybe some of these other arms that the Giants have strung along the last few years and said could start games, but really they're not trusting to start games.
All right. Give me a prediction on the score today. And maybe you'll win dinner for two at Original Joe's. You know, the new Walnut Creek is opening this Thursday. And, of course, you can get your special dessert there. So, all right, give me a score today, and we'll put you in the contest.
Score today. How about 7-6 Giants with another no decision for Justin Verlander today, Marty?
All right. You're in. What's your dessert? What do you like?
The butter cake. The butter cake is the best dessert in all of San Francisco. They don't pay me to say it, but it is the best dessert in all of San Francisco.
That's all right. Glenn, give me a score today. What do you think?
I got a Giants 5, Nats 3. I'm going to give Verlander a second win, and I would like a big giant piece of carrot cake, Marty, if you could do that for me.
All right, come on. Well, you're near Walnut Creek, so it does open Thursday. You should. Yeah. Did you ever send a picture in? They wanted a picture of you. Okay. All right. Well, the other news today is the female umpire, Jen Powell, and I haven't watched the game. I imagine it must have started already or close to starting for the Marlins and Atlanta. What's your take on that, Kerry?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. You know, Marty, I umpired, 130 Little League games in San Francisco growing up. I think that everyone who wants to get involved with baseball as a player or a coach, one of the best ways to understand the sport is through umpiring. And I'm so proud of Jen and think it's just such an incredible moment for the sport. It's really a watershed day. And it reminds me of Alyssa Nacken, coaching for the San Francisco Giants when she broke through with this ball club on Gabe Kapler's team. And really the journey that she took to get to the major league level, I thought was incredible. And so these are great moments. These are historic moments. They deserve to be celebrated. And I couldn't be happier that Jen, who's worked so hard in the minor leagues, is getting the shot in the major leagues today. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, well, see, baseball is different than basketball and football. And there's more confrontation. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out. Glenn, what do you think?
Well, listen, I mean, as you know, Marty, I mean, I get frustrated with umpires just because I think if there's better umpires in AAA, then those guys should get a shot because, I just think there's some umpires, I just don't think they're very good. I know it's a very hard job. I do, but when you don't have to worry about losing your job, that to me it doesn't make any sense. Okay, and I think it's awesome that Jen is getting this opportunity because she must have shown that she's a very, very good umpire, and if she's that good, I think it's awesome, and maybe this should happen more. Right? Whether it be a male or a female, but if there's better umpires in AAA, then I think those umpires should get a shot. And I wish there was more of some type of system for Major League umpires that if they're not doing a good job, then something needs to happen. And I know that's easy to say, and there's a union involved, and I get all that. But I think it's terrific. I think it's terrific that she's getting a chance. I hope she gets hired as a full-time umpire next year. And I just think, the opportunities are there for these minor league umpires if they're good. And if they're better than the major league umpires, then I think some of these minor league umpires should get more chances. And I'm thrilled that she did. And, and I hope she becomes a permanent umpire because that would mean that she's very, very good at what she does. And I think that's awesome.
Well, it'll be a great story today. I can't wait to see how it turns out today. Well, my prediction is today the Giants win 5-2, and Drew Gilbert clears the bases with a double.
There you go. That's a good one.
Off a lefty.
If Mackenzie Gore, come on, everybody else hits him. Can't Drew Gilbert get his first hit today?
Yes.
Right? Come on. All right, that's my prediction. Kerry, you got work to do, so we'll let you go do your work. Glenn, we'll see you shortly. Take care of yourself. And Giants warm up right now with the great Kerry Crowley.
While Bob Melvin preps the men in orange and black, we'll prep you for today's ball game as our Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
Here's the pitch. Swing. There's a high drive, deep right center field. Way back there, still going. Adios! Pelota! Over the wall, over the visiting bullpen, and out there into the Jung-Hoo Lee 4-1-5 area. And the Giants have a 1-0 lead. What a shot that was.
We are back here on Giants Warm-Up. Kerry Crowley rolling with you until the start of Giants baseball on the radio this afternoon. First pitch, 1:05. That home run you just heard, Rafael Devers, on Friday evening. The Giants' 5-0 win over the Washington Nationals is our home run of the week, sponsored by Pacific Catch, the Bay's favorite seafood destination. Devers also homered on Saturday. Devers, though, was the only source of offense the Giants had. He had a home run, a single, and a run-scoring rally, 2 walks. He was unstoppable. The rest of the Giants, however, completely stoppable. In a 4-2 defeat against the Nationals, Carson Whisenhunt gave up 3 home runs in the early innings. He lasts just 4. And now it comes down to a rubber match this afternoon against 2 pitchers with identical earned run averages. Mackenzie Gore, an all-star this season for the Washington Nationals, been beat up over his last several outings. He's 4-12 on the season, an all-star with a 4-12 record. Shows you that wins and losses aren't everything in baseball. A 4.29 earned run average, 148 strikeouts on the season. Meanwhile, the Giants will turn things over to Justin Verlander, the 42-year-old seeking career win number 264. He's 1-8 on the year with a 4.29 earned run average, 81 strikeouts, a 1.45 whip for Verlander compared to a 1.37 whip for the young lefty Mackenzie Gore, who, of course, was acquired in that blockbuster trade by the Washington Nationals that sent Juan Soto out to the San Diego Padres a few years ago. And what a trade it turned out to be for the Nationals and general manager Mike Rizzo. They got Gore. They got young outfielder Robert Hassell, a first-round draft pick of San Diego. They got James Wood, their top power hitter, who hits leadoff in their lineup. They got C.J. Abrams, a franchise shortstop, who's been incredible for them. And yet the Washington Nationals are no better today than they were when they traded Juan Soto. In fact, this team is worse at 46-70. They have the second worst record in the National League. So it just goes to show you, you can tear down, you can rebuild, you can focus on the future all you want as a Major League franchise. You can even get great young players coming through your system, coming through to the Major League level, as the Nationals did in Mackenzie Gore and James Wood and C.J. Abrams and Robert Hassell. But there is no guarantee of success in Major League Baseball. You have to do so much right. You have to draft correctly. You have to sign international talent. You have to develop players in your farm system. You have to make the right free agent signings. Ultimately, you need players to pop up who were overlooked, undervalued elsewhere, who your scouts found and ultimately produce for you. And the Washington Nationals have struggled to do that over the last few seasons. And the San Francisco Giants have really struggled to do that as well. They are one game under 500 since the start of the 2016 season. We're going on a better part of a decade right now with the Giants personifying mediocrity in the National League. And right now they enter today's ballgame 59-58, 4 games out, that final wildcard spot in the National League. If you heard Marty Lurie and Glenn Kuiper just a few moments ago, they're both relatively optimistic about the Giants' ability to fight back in this race and make things competitive with the New York Mets team that's in an absolute free fall. The Mets have lost 6 consecutive games. They looked terrible when the Giants saw them at Citi Field last weekend. They are 1-9 over the course of their last 10. But the Cincinnati Reds also stand in the way of the San Francisco Giants. They're 4 games over 500, just 2.5 out of that third wildcard spot. The Giants have to make up some significant ground in the National League. And at no point of the last 3 months has this team indicated, at least to me, that it's capable of doing so. Now, the Giants have the pieces in place. They've got Logan Webb and Robbie Ray in the rotation. They've got a lineup that features Rafael Devers and Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Elliot Ramos, all players capable of carrying a team when they get hot. Devers is hot right now. Adames and Chapman, ice cold. You saw that yesterday with Chapman striking out with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, looking a bad at bat for a player who hasn't been good with runners in scoring position since the early days of the regular season, and that has haunted the San Francisco Giants of late. So we'll talk about this wild card race, a race that I say the Giants are not in right now, but again, they can jump back in with a strong week against the Padres and the Tampa Bay Rays. They're just not in it at the moment. We can also talk about what to look forward to down the stretch for this ball club. 59-58 for the San Francisco Giants. About 7 weeks to go until the regular season ends. Where will the Giants be at that point? What does the future hold for Bob Melvin? 415-808-KNBR is the number. Would love to take your calls throughout this morning's show. Raph is off today, but we've got our own Kyle Haar producing today's magic here on KNBR, the sports leader.
It's almost time for hot dogs, peanuts, cold beers, and orange and black baseball. Our Giants warm-up rolls on the sports leader.
3-2 pitch. Swing, and there's a high fly ball into deep center. Going way back there. Young at the warning track at the wall. Adios, Pelota. Just a high drive that would not come down. And Devers with a homer for the second game in a row here at home for the Giants' first run of this game.
I think he's just when he's comfortable at the plate, you see what he does right now. So, I mean, he's DHing today. He's gone back and forth. He is much more comfortable playing first base. I think it's just him being Devers at this point.
All right, we're back here on Giants Warm-Up. Kerry Crowley rolling with you until the start of our Giants pregame show at 12:05 p.m. Pacific time today. Then we've got first pitch coming your way at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. Justin Verlander will throw it for the San Francisco Giants, and Mackenzie Gore will oppose him for the Washington Nationals. Rafael Devers homers in back-to-back games. The Giants won 5-0 on Friday over the second-worst team in the National League, and then they lose 4-2 on Saturday. The offense goes silent, save for Devers. And the Giants in the eighth inning. The bases loaded and just one out. Left-hander on the mound for the Nats. Bob Melvin pinch hits Dom Smith, one of the hottest hitters in the Giants lineup, and instead goes with Wilmer Flores in that scenario. Flores gets a sacrifice fly, but a lot of Giants fans would have liked to have seen Smith get that opportunity. There's been a ton of support for Dom Smith on the text line, on the phone line. A lot of you want Dom Smith back next season in a Giants uniform, which I think is interesting because the Giants pretty much have that position, the first base DH slot, covered right now, and the fact that Rafael Devers will be back and presumably current 20-year-old top prospect down at AAA, Bryce Eldridge, will be up at the major league level at some point by early next season. Now, Eldridge could still get a cup of coffee late this year. He could be added to the 40-man roster, and he could be in competition at the beginning of spring training for an opening day roster spot. Crazier things have happened, and he certainly has the prodigious talent that would help the San Francisco Giants. But Dominic Smith, the pending free agent, winning the hearts and minds of Giants fans. He's fit in San Francisco. There's a lot of folks who really love Dominic Smith, and I would encourage anyone, if you missed it earlier this season when the Giants acquired Dom Smith and he was starting to settle in, there was the series down at Dodger Stadium, famously the series where the Giants acquired Rafael Devers, took Kyle Harrison off the bullpen mound just moments before he was set to take the mound in a rubber match against Los Angeles, where first place was still on the line, believe it or not, that afternoon at Dodger Stadium. Well, that Friday morning, Dominic Smith had joined Murph and Marcus for an incredible interview that really gave you insight to who Dom Smith is as a person, what he cares about. I think that interview, especially with the KNBR audience, went a long way toward showing the personality that comes with a player of his caliber, with a player who's been around Major League Baseball, a player who at the time was extremely happy to be coming back to his home state of California. He grew up in Southern California and just has a fascinating journey to the big league level and to the San Francisco Giants that he really revealed with Murph and Marcus. So I think you can go on Google. You can search Dom Smith, Murph and Marcus, anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Look up Dominic Smith, KNBR. It's got to be in the searches there. And if you have the chance to listen to it, I really would encourage you. It was so good, and I think went a long way towards setting up Dominic Smith to become a fan favorite. Anyone who listened to that, I mean, they were getting texts all morning long about how great he was. And so a lot of folks wanted to see him get that opportunity in the eighth inning on Saturday. I understood Bob Melvin's decision to go with Wilmer Flores, but at the same time, Flores has cooled off dramatically over the last few months of the season. Hadn't really taken at bat in a week because of the injury that he'd been dealing with, tight hamstring. And today he enters the ballgame with a 249 average and a 698 OPS, a far cry from where Wilmer Flores was back really at the end of May when he was one of the leading RBI men in Major League Baseball. He's now been passed, believe it or not, by a number of different Giants players, including Rafael Devers, who's of course got 80 on the season, most of those coming with the Boston Red Sox. And Willie Adames has actually slipped past Wilmer Flores with 61 runs batted in on the season. So what we'll do right now is we'll give you the lineups for these two respective teams. The Washington Nationals going with Wood out in left field today, 25 homers. He's got 73 runs driven in, 14 stolen bases. The all-star left fielder has a 256 average and an 841 OPS. He is a joy to watch, a prodigious power hitter from the left side. You could envision him hitting balls into McCovey Cove. You don't want to because he plays for the Washington Nationals, but I'm telling you, This guy has the type of power to just flip him in there. C.J. Abrams, the shortstop, bats second for Washington. 14 homers, 43 driven in on the season. 26 stolen bases for Abrams, who has the chance to become a 2020 player if he can hit a few more home runs down the stretch. 267 average and a 782 OPS. The veteran DH is Josh Bell. Switch hitter will hit from the left side today against Justin Verlander. 14 homers, 41 driven in, 229 average, and a 718 OPS. Paul DeYoung, former Giant, made a cameo in San Francisco. He's the cleanup hitter, second baseman. 3 homers, 10 driven in, 4 stolen bases, 225 average, and a 655 OPS for DeYoung. Nathaniel Lau over at first base today. He's really cooled off of late. 15 homers, 64 runs batted in, 216 average, and a 657 OPS. Riley Adams, who does big damage against the San Francisco Giants. He's the catcher today. He'll hit 6th. 7 homers, 17 runs driven in, 180 average, and a 596 OPS for Adams. You've got Lyle out in right field this afternoon. 7th place hitter, 2 homers, 16 RBIs on the season, 249 average, and a 678 OPS. House is the third baseman over at the hot corner. 2 homers, 18 driven in, a 242 average, and a 590 OPS. And then Young rounds things out in center field for the Washington Nationals, who again, we'll go with Mackenzie Gore on the mound. Gore has been roughed up in his last few outings. Over his last 4 starts, Gore 0-4 during that time frame, 15 2/3 innings. He's not gone deep into ball games and has given up 29 hits, 23 earned runs, 6 home runs, 11 walks, while striking out just 10 batters during that time frame, a 13.21 earned run average since the All-Star break. Mackenzie Gore gave up 8 runs against his former team, the San Diego Padres, then went 5 innings of 1-run ball against the Minnesota Twins. No problem there. 5 1/3 innings of 6-run ball in Houston against the Astros in a blowout loss for the Nationals. And then last week, his worst start of the season against the Sacramento A's. He lasted just 3 innings at home in Washington, D.C., 12 hits allowed, 8 earned runs against the A's, 1 walk, did not strike out a batter against the Athletics. That's a good lineup. It's a really good lineup. The A's struggling to find pitching this year. It's one of the reasons that they're not in the wild card race in the American League. But that group led by Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson, 2 promising rookies. They are fun to watch, and Mackenzie Gore did not have fun facing them last week at home. So here's the lineup for Bob Melvin and the San Francisco Giants. Elliot Ramos, your leadoff man. 14 home runs, 51 driven in on the season. 6 stolen bases for Ramos. 2 hits yesterday brought the average up to 274 and a 766 OPS. It's not the offense that's a concern with Ramos. It's the defense. It's the base running. It's everything else. His bat has been just fine. Rafael Devers in the 2-hole today, the first baseman after playing DH yesterday. 22 home runs, including 2 in the last couple of ball games. 80 runs driven in on the season. A stolen base at 259 average and 856 OPS. Willie Adames follows in the 3 spot in the order. The shortstop has 18 homers, 61 driven in, 4 stolen bases, a 231 average, and a 723 OPS. Wilmer Flores getting the call as the cleanup man today, which tells you kind of how dire things are for this Giants lineup. They've got to go to a man with an OPS under 700 in the cleanup spot, but that's the look that they want against the left-hander Mackenzie Gore. They're trusting that those splits for Flores will play up today. 12 homers, 60 RBIs on the season after the red-hot start that he had in the month of April. A 249 average and a 698 OPS. For the veteran pending free agent Matt Chapman, who of course struck out in the critical situation yesterday. He's been bad with runners in scoring position this season, especially late and close situations. Third baseman has 16 homers, 44 driven in, 7 stolen bases, 229 average. It's got to come up. His career average is around 240, but Giants really need that number to come up. Good OPS, though, 767. The Giants will take that. Casey Schmidt, the second baseman today, coming off an 0 for yesterday. 7 home runs on the year. 24 runs driven in, 243 average, and a 718 OPS. Jung-Hoo Lee in center field will bat 7th, 6 homers, 46 RBIs on the season for Lee. 8 stolen bases, a 258 average, and a 732 OPS. For the Giants center fielder, Patrick Bailey back in the lineup. After making a cameo late in yesterday's ballgame, Andrew Kisner got the start. Bailey, the switch hitter, will hit from the right side against Mackenzie Gore. 2 homers, 1 inside the Parker this season in walk-off fashion. Of course, the most memorable ballgame Giants played this season, maybe the last 5 years at Oracle Park. 35 runs driven in for Bailey, a 215 average, and a 579 OPS. And then the X Factor today, Drew Gilbert at the bottom of the lineup. The right fielder made his Major League debut on Friday. He's 0 to start. He's got to get on the board with a hit today, maybe some left-on-left action. He was hitting left-on-left in AAA Sacramento. In fact, I believe his walk-off RBI double for the River Cats earlier this week came in a left-on-left situation. So the Giants trusting Gilbert to get the job done now that they've traded Mike Yastrzemski to the Kansas City Royals, now that they've placed Gerard Encarnacion on the injured list with that right hamstring injury, and now that they've sent Luis Matos back to AAA Sacramento. It's it's Drew Gilbert against Mackenzie Gore today. That's a big, big matchup for this ball club. Matos, meanwhile, homering last night, second homer in as many games for him for the AAA Sacramento River Cats. So trying to get back onto the radar, but I think we've learned a lot, really, over the last week or so about how the Giants as an organization view Luis Matos and his future, even though he's tearing it up back at AAA. He's really one of the best River Cat hitters of all time. The guy goes down to AAA, and he just makes quick work of the PCL, launching home run after home run. But when he comes up to the major league level, has struggled with consistency. I think that we learned a lot by the fact that after the Giants traded Mike Yastrzemski, they didn't have room on the major league roster. They decided not to have room for Luis Matos, bringing up Grant McCray instead. And then with Gerard Encarnacion being placed on the injured list this week, instead of bringing Matos up, getting another right-handed hitter in the mix, they went with Drew Gilbert. So they've got a heavy left-handed mix in the outfield right now with Jung Hoo Lee, with Drew Gilbert, and of course, with Grant McCray, who can play both center and right field and brings the element of speed to the San Francisco Giants that they would certainly like at the bottom of their order. So with all of those players taking the field, Justin Verlander will be on the mound for this ball club, looking for win number 2 in a Giants uniform. Verlander certainly pitched well enough to give the Giants opportunities, especially over his last 3 ball games. He's got 15 innings under his belt during that time frame and a .6 earned run average. He has been outstanding. And he's 3 strikeouts away from becoming the 10th member of the 3,500 strikeout club. There are 20 members, including several active players, Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, of the 3,000 strikeout club. But Justin Verlander about to enter the 3,500 strikeout club. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer one day. Don't think he'll be going into Cooperstown with a Giants hat. Don't anticipate that. But the 42-year-old right-hander has been impressive since the trade deadline. He's been impressive really over the last 2 months, and the Giants just have not given him any sort of meaningful run support. So that's got to change today. But the group of pitchers who's in front of him on the all-time strikeout list, just a remarkable set of names. You've got Randy Johnson, you've got Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan, the only member of the 5,000 strikeout club. Gaylord Perry, someone who could be, tracked down this season by Verlander. I think he's like 37 strikeouts away from passing the former Giant, who, of course, has a statue outside Oracle Park. So that's something to keep in mind if Verlander can stay consistent down the stretch for this ball club. So a lot more to get to here on Giants Warm-Up. When we come back, we'll give you the scores from around Major League Baseball from last evening. We'll also talk more about Justin Verlander, what the Giants would like to see from him, and really what I would like to see from this Giants rotation down the stretch. I mentioned this to Marty and Glenn earlier in the show, but I would really like to see the Giants get a look at Blade Tidwell, pitcher acquired in the New York Met deal, and there's a significant reason why I think the Giants ought to push Tidwell into the rotation at some point in the month of August or September. So when we come back, a lot more to discuss here on Giants Warm-Up. You're listening to KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
Now back to the show built for the orange and black family. This is Giants Warm Up on KNBR, the sports leader.
4-1 Nationals. First pitch swing and a pop-up. Left center field. Ramos coming over and he loses it. And Jung-Hoo Lee somehow recovers and caught it. Ramos was coming in to catch it, and he called off Lee and then threw up his hands and said, "I don't see it." And Lee came ducking in and made a basket-style catch as he tumbled forward onto the grass. And he saved the day. That saves a run.
Had it all the way.
Oh, yeah.
We are back here on Giants Warm Up, and I have to say, that call there from Dave Fleming seemed familiar. Seems like the type of thing we've heard a lot this season. Elliot Ramos losing the ball, and somehow Jung-Hoo Lee saves the day. But it's happened too often this season. Ramos has been great at the plate, 2 for 4 yesterday, contributing again with the bat, but in the field, it's been a little bit more of an adventure. And I think as you start to think about 2026, you start to think about some of the changes the Giants need to make, they really need Elliot Ramos to work hard on honing left field during the offseason, during spring training. Pretty much everything that he does should be focused on improving in the field because he's given back so many runs this year. In the outfield, on the bases, he's been a very solid hitter. In fact, the Giants love having him at the top of the lineup, particularly against left-handed pitchers. They just need a little bit more in the outfield. And when I say a little bit, I probably mean a lot more. So let's take a look at scores around Major League Baseball from Saturday. We'll give you the updates on the finals, and then we'll give you a spin through the scores from Sunday from games that are already in progress. Game 1 of a doubleheader yesterday between the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Atlanta won at 7-1. Hunter Waldrop got the win in that one, 2-0 with a 1.54 earned run average after that victory. Really, the reason that we talk about this game is Jurickson Profar made one of the most sensational catches you will see all season, leaping up and over the left field wall at Truist Park to rob a home run in the 4th inning of that ball game. But anyone saying was the best catch of the season clearly is forgetting Denzel Clark going up and over the wall in Anaheim against the Angels. The Sacramento A's outfielder made, really, in my opinion, one of those spectacular catches you will see in a decade when he robbed a home run earlier this year. The closing speed that Clark showed to grab that ball, just a little bit more impressive in my opinion than Profar, who went way over the fence and backhanded this ball, but I don't think he needed the same type of closing speed that Clark needed to track down a home run earlier this season with the Athletics. So that was game 1 of the doubleheader, and the Braves won game 2 as well, 8-6. Eric Fetty, former Cardinal, got the win. Sandy Alcantara beat up in the loss. Remember, there was so much of this season that was spent wondering where Sandy Alcantara would go at the trade deadline, how big of a prospect package the Marlins would get in return. He's 6-11 with a 6.55 earned run average after yesterday's loss in game 2 of that doubleheader. to the Atlanta Braves. Raisel Iglesias, save number 16. Alcantara didn't end up going anywhere, and really, I don't know how much trade value he had with the season that he's been having coming off of an injury. I think it's unfortunate because Alcantara, at his peak, one of those fun pitchers to watch in Major League Baseball, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, 4+ pitches, just has not been the same since suffering injuries, missing time due to surgery. It's been really too bad. Yankees won yesterday 5-4 over the Houston Astros. David Bednar gets the win. Trent Grisham hit a late home run in that one. King took the loss out of the bullpen for Houston. The Yankees now 7 over 500. The Astros 13 over 500. The Yankees trying to claw their way back into the AL playoff race that they looked to be in complete command of just 2 months ago, but they have slipped, and their bullpen has been a problem. Camilo Doval, a part of that problem since being transferred over at the trade deadline from the San Francisco Giants. The Angels won 7-4 yesterday over the Detroit Tigers. Yusei Kikuchi, win number 7. He's 6-7 with a 3.37 earned run average. Charlie Morton 7-10 with a 5.48 ERA. Big trade deadline acquisition for the Tigers. Kenley Jansen save number 21 in that one for the Angels. The Reds won 2-1 yesterday over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Nick Martinez got the win. Emilio Pagan save number 25. The Reds 4 games over 500. They're still in front of the San Francisco Giants in the playoff race. The A's won 11-3 yesterday over the Orioles. Perkins the win. Young takes the loss. Shea Langeliers and Brent Rooker each hit home runs. I believe Rooker hit a 3-run home run in that ball game for an Athletics team that pounded out 13 hits. It's amazing to me that the A's are 15 games under 500 with all the incredible hitters that they've got in their lineup, all the young talent that they really have amassed inside that organization. They just have no pitching and no bullpen there in Sacramento. The Orioles, meanwhile, 11 under 500, finished with just 4 hits in yesterday's ballgame. Cleveland Guardians continue to stay hot. They're 6 over 500 right now as the White Sox lose 3-1 in Chicago. Cantillo gets the win. Smith gets the save for a Guardians team that's lost Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase to the gambling investigation going on there in Cleveland. The Royals won 2-0 over the Minnesota Twins yesterday. Noah Cameron gets the win. Bailey Ober takes the loss. And how about Carlos Estevez? Save number 29 for Mike Yastrzemski's Kansas City Royals, who are 1 game under 500 right now. I did think that was an interesting move that the Royals made. They weren't really in the playoff picture when they added Yastrzemski at the trade deadline and gave up a nice young prospect in Junior Marte, but I guess they needed some bats to cover in the outfield, and so Yastrzemski, a pending free agent, became the odds-on favorite for that one. Brewers won 7-4 over the slumping and sliding New York Mets, who are now 1-9 in their last 10 ball games. The Brewers take it with Jared Koenig getting the win. He's now 4-1 with 3.45 earned run average. Ryan Stanek takes the loss, and McGill, save number 28 for a Milwaukee team that's now won 8 in a row. The Brewers 72-44, 38-20 at home. May not have the opportunity to play today because it is pouring and flooding in Milwaukee right now. So sending our best to the Midwest there and hoping that everything is okay in that situation. Of course, baseball becomes secondary during this kind of a moment. But my goodness, the Brewers have been on an absolute tear. Best team in the National League right now, maybe the best team in all of Major League Baseball. Don't have the standings in front of me, but my goodness, what a run that Milwaukee team has been on. And still, I said this on yesterday's show, name 10 Brewers players. It's difficult. It is really, really difficult to do so. The Cubs, 9-1 winners over the St. Louis Cardinals. They're 67-49. The Cardinals, meanwhile, fall back to 500. Matt Shaw with a big day at the plate. Colin Rea, win number 9 for him. 9-5 with a 4.09 earned run average. And Andre Pallante takes the loss for St. Louis. The Phillies outlasted the Texas Rangers. Nice pitching duel. It set up Jesus Luzardo against Jacob deGrom, and the Phillies won 3-2. Luzardo, win number 11 on the season. 11-5 with a 4.20 earned run average. deGrom, meanwhile, falls to 10-5 with a 2.86 ERA. Joan Duran, save number 3. Since coming over to Philadelphia, it's been 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and 1-3 in 3 outings, 3 save chances for Joan Duran, the former Minnesota Twins closer. Arizona Diamondbacks won yesterday 6-5 over the Colorado Rockies, fell to 30-86 on the season, 14-44 away from Coors Field. Lourdes Gurriel hit a walk-off that completes the D-backs' comeback over Colorado. Hoffman the win out of the bullpen. Jimmy Herget takes the loss. Former Angels reliever. He's bounced around to a number of different teams. Padres won in walk-off fashion as well. Extra innings last night. Jason Adam gets the victory out of the bullpen. He's 7-3 now with a 1.75 earned run average. Padres took it 5-4 over the Boston Red Sox in a really good matchup. 2 competitive teams, 2 teams that streaking toward playoff berths. Garrett Whitlock took the loss in that one, 5-2 with a 2.87 ERA. 2 more scores to tell you about as well. The Dodgers won going away 9-1 over the Toronto Blue Jays. Blake Snell gets win number 2 this season. Shohei Ohtani had a big day at the plate. Snell 2-1 with a 2.37 ERA. But again, hasn't pitched a whole lot because of the injuries. Chris Bassett, 11-6 after the loss with a 4.17 ERA. And the Seattle Mariners, they're keeping things close in that AL wildcard chase. They take it 7-4 over a Tampa Bay Rays team that's been struggling since the All-Star break, and they will be in town next weekend taking on these Giants to round out the 9-game homestand at Oracle Park. Evans the win, Boyle the loss, and Andres Munoz save number 27. As good as any closer in baseball for my money, Munoz with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball and the devastating 91, 92-mile-an-hour slider that is so fun to watch. So the Mariners took it 7-4. Those are the scores around Major League Baseball from yesterday. We've also got a few scores of games that are in progress right now to tell you about. Middle of the fifth inning already at Target Field in Minnesota, where the Twins lead the Royals 2-1. Brooks Lee due up at the plate to lead off the bottom half of frame for Minnesota. End of the third inning right now. Not good news for the San Francisco Giants as the Cincinnati Reds are ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0. Reds, meanwhile, 61-57, trying to get to 5 games over 500. Hunter Green's on the IL. Nick Lodolo dealing with a blister. Nevertheless, the Reds continue to win and putting pressure on teams behind them, like the Giants, like the Cardinals, in the wildcard race. The Astros are up early in the Bronx trying to win that series 2-0. They lead top of the fourth inning. Max Fried, who was so good at the beginning of the season for the Yankees. He was never going to keep the pace that he had going in the first half, but Fried trying to keep his team in the ball game against the Astros right now, who've been really good over the last couple of months. Marlins lead at 1-0 over the Braves right now, top of the fourth inning at Truist Park. Joey Wentz on the hill for the Marlins in that one. He's wearing a Braves hat in his picture, so it looks to me like he at least, I guess, top of the fourth inning. No, he's pitching for the Braves. Hill is at the plate for Miami right now. End of the third inning in Baltimore Camden Yards, where it's still scoreless between the Athletics and the Orioles. Orioles don't have a hit yet in that ball game. A's have pounded out 2 thus far. Top of the third inning in Detroit, where the Tigers lead the Angels 3-0. Casey Mize, first overall pick in the 2018 MLB draft. He's on the hill right now. 2 1/3 innings. He's got a runner on second, 1 out, trying to get out of a jam with Nolan Shanuel at the plate. End of the first inning, Chicago White Sox up 3-0 already over the Cleveland Guardians, as Cleveland has some room to claw back. And good news, they did get underway in Milwaukee despite the floods and all the concerns about the weather there. Obviously an indoor stadium, but it was kind of an unsafe situation outside the ballpark there in Milwaukee, where the Mets already hold a 2-0 lead. Sean Manaea on the hill for New York in that ball game. Bunch of other games to tell you about that are coming your way later on, but we will do so when we get around to Diamond Notes here on KNBR. 415-808-KNBR is the number if you'd like to chime in on the state of the San Francisco Giants. We're wide open right now. Phone lines are wide open. Conversation topics are wide open. I will hear you out on anything and everything. If you just want to call up and vent about losing a game to the Washington Nationals, I'm your guy. Sitting here until 12:05. That's the time that our Giants pregame show begins. For now, it's Giants warm-up, and then 1:05 p.m. Pacific time, the rubber match between the Giants and the Nationals will get underway. Mackenzie Gore, the young left-hander, going for Washington. The all-star who struggled of late against Justin Verlander, 42-year-old righty, future first ballot Hall of Famer, trying to pick up win number 264 in his historic career, and win number 2 in a Giants uniform. He's been good of late, but the Giants have not rewarded him a whole lot since the All-Star break. You're listening to Giants Warm-Up on KNBR, the sports leader.
Giants fans, first pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
Comes on in the 8th inning here today. The pitch grounded past the mound toward the middle, and glove behind second by Adames. He spins around and throws him out at first. Wow. Now the Nationals are going to check with the video room, and they will not challenge that call. Adames went all the way over to the second baseman's side of second base, gloved that ball, got onto the outfield grass, spun completely around, and made his best throw to first and just barely got him. What a play.
We are back here on Giants Warm-Up. Kerry Crowley rolling with you until the start of Giants baseball on the radio, 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. The first pitch today, Justin Verlander will throw it for the San Francisco Giants, and he'll be opposed by the All-Star, the left-hander Mackenzie Gore, for the Washington Nationals. Gore hasn't looked the part of an All-Star since the break. In fact, he's 0-4 in 4 outings since making his appearance in Atlanta alongside Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. 15 2/3 innings during that time frame, and it's been rough. 29 hits allowed, 11 walks, 6 home runs, and just 10 strikeouts for Mackenzie Gore, who's got a 13.21 earned run average during that time frame. Last time out against the Athletics at home, he gave up 8 runs, including 2 home runs in 3 innings pitched. So an opportunity for the Giants to take advantage, an opportunity for this Giants team to win the series, and then a huge showdown looms this week. 3 games against the San Diego Padres, and the Giants must win this series to have any hope of competing for a wildcard spot in the National League. You simply can't lose to the teams in front of you right now if you're the San Francisco Giants. And the schedule gets daunting. After this week, Giants will host the Padres, and then the Tampa Bay Rays coming to town after a Thursday off day for 3 games, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Giants' schedule in the month of August then becomes increasingly difficult. It's down in San Diego for 4, then it's off to the red-hot Milwaukee Brewers for 3, an off day followed by a home series against the Chicago Cubs, a team that's also sitting in front of the San Francisco Giants. This is a make-or-break stretch, and you could argue the last 2 months have been a make-or-break stretch that have broken the San Francisco Giants, but they're not completely out of it yet. I said this morning with Marty and Glenn, as we were talking through the playoff race, the Giants aren't in the playoff race, but they're not out of it either. There's a playoff race happening the Giants can become a part of, but it's not like the Washington Nationals, who are completely out of the race. It's not like the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are completely out of the race, the Colorado Rockies, Pittsburgh Pirates, the list goes on. The Giants aren't a part of the race right now. But by winning 7 of 10 or 8 of 12 or 14 of 20, they can jump right back into this thing. The Mets are in a free fall. The Padres are the team they've got 7 games against in their next 11. They can jump right back into this thing. They just have to play their best baseball of the season. And so far, there haven't been signs that that's coming. And when I start to think about what's gone wrong for the San Francisco Giants in 2025, why we sit here today with this team just a game over 500, after it got off to such a promising start this season, after the month of April looked like the Giants were poised to gear up for a magical season and potentially a deep October run, why are the Giants sitting here on Sunday, August 10th, one game over 500, and questioning whether they can even be a part of this wild card race yet again? And as I start to look at the batting order, and I start to look at the statistics, one thing that I realize about this ball club is no one is having a career year. No one that's a part of this core is outperforming expectations. No one who the Giants were counting on for a secondary role on this team has popped up and asserted themselves as a primary contributor for this ball club. Back in April and May, it looked like Wilmer Flores was going to have a career year, and he enters today with an OPS under 700. Back in April, Willie Adames was one of the worst qualified hitters in Major League Baseball, and he enters today with a 231 average and a 723 OPS. It's fine. He's made improvements. He had a great month of July, but it just hasn't been good enough. So when you start to think about the Giants' core players, it's Elliot Ramos, it's Rafael Devers, it's Willie Adames, it's Matt Chapman, it's Jung-Hoo Lee. None of these players are outperforming expectations. They either are A, right around expectations, or B, underperforming the back of their baseball card. And when that happens for a group of 4 to 5 really key players who will determine the outcome of your season, you're not going to go that far. When you look at Robbie Ray and Logan Webb, both of them are having very nice years. I would say that Ray is exceeding expectations, becoming an all-star, and I would say that Webb, as the ace of the staff, is essentially meeting them. They are lofty expectations for Logan Webb. He understands the pressure that he's under, but he's delivered. Logan Webb's been everything the Giants have needed and more. For the most part this season, Landon Roop was a guy who was outperforming expectations, and Randy Rodriguez has certainly done so in the bullpen, becoming the first non-closer relief pitcher to become an all-star in Giants history. But when you think about the core of this team, no one's done it. No one has put the team on their back for an extended period of time. No one has simply said, I'm going to go on a stretch where I hit 500 for a week, or I drive in 15, 20 runs over a 7-8 game stretch and lead the offense. Not one point in this season have the Giants had 2 of their core players consistently hot for the better part of a month. And that, to me, is perhaps why this team is sitting here staring down disappointment on Sunday, August 10th. Because when you look at Ramos, the raw numbers are fine. 274, 766, it's good enough. Devers, 259, 856, you'll take it. Adames, 231, 723, okay. You'd like that to be a little bit higher. Matt Chapman, 229, 767, again, okay. It's within the realm of possibility, but you'd like that to be a little bit higher. And Jung-Hoo Lee, 258 and 732. Again, it's okay. You'd like to be higher. In none of those cases are we able to point at a particular player and say, man, he's having the year of his life. This guy has taken off and transformed himself as a baseball player and completely reshaped our opinion of him. For the most part, this group has just been average to subpar. And then when you dig under the hood, when you look at numbers like Matt Chapman with runners in scoring position, he's been awful of late. When you look at Willie Adames since the start of August, it hasn't been good enough. He had turned his season around in July, was poised to make this not a lost year. And instead, at 59 and 58, third place in the National League West, the Giants can point to their core and say, they've just been okay. And that's why this team is just okay. They haven't gotten the career year. They haven't had the breakthrough performance from a prospect. They haven't had the supplementary contributions that put a team over the top. It's been mediocre. It's been fine. There's nothing that you can sit here and get angry about on a daily basis. There's nothing that you can sit here all season long and point to and say, well, that is the problem. That's the one Achilles heel for this team. It's not like this team has been 2 pitchers short in the rotation for 4 months. It's not like this team has been 3 arms short in the bullpen for 3 months. It's not like this team has even been 3 bats short for 3 months. The bats they've had have just been consistently average. And that, to me, is one of the most maddening, frustrating parts of where the Giants are at right now, because it's a team with so much potential. When you think about Ramos and Devers and Adames and Chapman and Lee, it's a group that should naturally get you as a fan excited to come watch Giants baseball, and that is reflected in the attendance numbers at Oracle Park, which have been really good this season. The Giants are back on track to sell out this stadium on a regular basis. Weekend games, the park is filling up. There is a vibrant atmosphere every time I go out to Oracle Park, and I'll be back there tomorrow afternoon ahead of Giants-Padres. Yesterday, they get 38,000 at the ballpark. It's not a sellout, but that is a great, great crowd that 80% of teams around Major League Baseball would love to have on a Saturday. Even teams that are ahead of the San Francisco Giants in the standings are struggling to draw like that. And yet, it's a crowd that has gone home far too often this season, disappointed and frustrated by core players' inability to deliver biggest moments, by core players' inability to simply put this team on their back and carry it through. There's a bunch of players playing at or around or just below the back of their baseball card. And for this season to have any sort of meaning, any sort of the type of warm, fuzzy feelings that you get when you think about 2021 and the 107-win season, or even the first half of the 2016 season when the Giants were the best team in baseball, you need a couple of guys to simply go on a torrid stretch at the same time. And whether it's Ramos and Devers, who each had 2 hits yesterday, whether it's Adames and Chapman, who look like they might be able to do it post-All-Star break but weren't able to carry it consistently in the month of August, whether it's Carson Whisenhunt and Kaiwei Tang leading the rotation, essentially 2 players need to step up and give the Giants the type of performances that have been so elusive all season. You're seeing it in Milwaukee with the Brewers. You're even seeing it in Cincinnati with the Reds, who are 4 games over 500, potentially poised to move to 5 over 500 with a win today in Pittsburgh. You saw it with the Mets early this season, and you've seen it with the Padres in San Diego. At various points, star players, core players, have put those teams on their shoulders and carried them through the dog days of the summer. Now, the Mets have lost 10 of 11. They're collapsing right now, and they could soon find themselves in a position that was familiar to the Giants just a month ago, in a playoff position and then very quickly out of it because they played their way out of it. But for the Giants to be the team that grabs a hold of that third wildcard spot, to put pressure on the Mets and the Cincinnati Reds, it's got to be the core players. It's got to be the guys who are paid $20+ million a year to deliver. And that's Jung-Hoo Lee, that's Matt Chapman, that's Rafael Devers, and it's Willie Adames. If you're making more than $20 million, the expectation is that for stretches over the course of a 162-game season, you are a leader, not just in the clubhouse, not just in the dugout, and not just what you're saying to teammates on the field, but with your production. And that, to me, is what's separating the Giants from being a purely mediocre baseball team to a team that can and should jump back into the wild card race that they are not a part of at this given moment. So, will it happen? Will it start today? We've been asking that question for the better part of 4 months. It's anyone's guess. And ultimately, it's on these players to figure it out. I am Kerry Crowley. The show is Giants Warm Up. When we come back, I'll give you the lineups one more time as we get you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Justin Verlander taking the hill for the San Francisco Giants. They owe him win number 2. He's been good enough of late. In fact, he's been great of late, searching for strikeout number 3,500 to become the 10th pitcher in baseball history to join that exclusive club. John Shea's got a tremendous story in the San Francisco Standard today about Justin Verlander and his chase of 3,500 strikeouts, what it means, and the company he's in right now, including a former Giants legend in Gaylord Perry. I'm Kerry Crowley. You're listening to Giants Warm Up on the Sports Leader.
Our KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the Sports Leader.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Giants trail 3-0. Adames strikes out swinging. Well, he went with the changeup, and Adames could not connect. That's a huge strikeout for Lurie. The Giants load him up, but leave him loaded.
Giants load him up, but leave him loaded. Feels like it's been the story of the season for this baseball club. Giants coming into today's game 59-58, third place in the National League West against the Washington Nationals team 46-70. The Giants desperately need a win today, in large part to really prove that they can win at Oracle Park with the makeup of this roster. They were swept at the hands of the Miami Marlins in June. They were swept at the hands of the Pittsburgh Pirates in July. The series that ultimately led Buster Posey and company in that front office to trade at the deadline, to sell at the deadline. And now they're on the verge of losing a series to the Washington Nationals, unless Justin Verlander can lead them to victory today. It's the rubber match. First pitch coming your way at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. I'm Kerry Crowley. Our conversation continues this morning here on Giants Forum. Giants pregame show will begin for you in just about 12 minutes with first pitch coming your way at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. Verlander takes the ball 1-8 this season, a 4.29 earned run average, 81 strikeouts. He's been good of late. The 1-8 average is not everything that you think when it comes to Justin Verlander. Sure, he should be going deeper into games. Sure, the Giants have seen Verlander pitch well and have some bad luck. But also, this team just has not produced any sort of run support for Verlander, and that includes of late. He's been great since the All-Star break, save for that start in Toronto. And it feels like the Giants ought to turn things around for him. Here's the lineup that we'll try to produce for him today for Bob Melvin and the San Francisco Giants. Elliot Ramos leading things off against the left-hander Mackenzie Gore. He's in left field. 14 homers, 51 driven in for Ramos, 6 stolen bases, a 274 average with a 766 OPS. Rafael Devers will hit second, the first baseman today after DHing yesterday. Home runs in back-to-back ball games. He's got 22 homers this season, including 7 since the trade from Boston. 80 runs driven in, 21 of those coming with the Giants. 1 stolen base, a 259 average, and an 856 OPS. Willie Adames gets the call in the third spot in the order. The shortstop has 18 homers, 61 driven in, 4 stolen bases this year for the Giants, and a 231 average with a 723 OPS. That's got to tick up in the near future. Wilmer Flores, the DH today, getting his first start in more than a week after dealing with the hamstring injury that he suffered last Friday in New York, Queens against the Mets. 12 homers, 60 runs driven in for Flores this year, 249 average, just a 698 OPS. Giants need that number to climb over the course of the next 7 weeks. Matt Chapman, the third baseman today, hitting fifth, 16 homers, 44 driven in. Hard to believe that. 44 runs driven in for your third baseman who's hitting in the middle of the order. Giants need a lot more from Chapman right now. 7 stolen bases, a 229 average, and a 767 OPS. Casey Schmidt, the second baseman today, he's sitting in the 6th spot, 7 homers, 24 runs batted in, a 243 average, and a 718 OPS. Jung-Hoo Lee, the center fielder for this ball club, 6 homers, 46 runs batted in, 8 stolen bases for Lee, 258 average, and a 732 OPS. Lee's been much better since the All-Star break, 300 average during the second half of the season, but I would still like to see him run a little bit more on the bases. Giants have not forced the issue nearly enough like they did during the month of April. Patrick Bailey, the switch-hitting catcher, will hit from the right side against Mackenzie Gore today. 2 homers, 35 RBIs on the season, 216 average and 579 OPS. And for Bob Melvin's ball club, Drew Gilbert, the rookie outfielder, will round things out in right field today, still looking for his first major league hit. Came over in the Tyler Rogers deal alongside Blake Tidwell and Jose Butto, who's been really good out of the bullpen for the Giants. I'd like to see Gilbert get on the board today with his first hit and some left-on-left action for him against Mackenzie Gore. Let's take a look at scores around Major League Baseball right now. Top of the 7th inning at Target Field in Minneapolis, where the Twins hold a 2-1 advantage over Mike Yastrzemski's Kansas City Royals. Yaz actually at the plate right now. He scored the only run today for the Kansas City Royals. He walked early in that ball game, 0 for 2 right now, and he's falling behind in the count against Ole, the Twins reliever, who's been in for 2 1/3 innings now. Bottom of the 5th inning, where the Reds were out to a 4-0 lead in Pittsburgh, but the Pirates have come all the way back to tie this ball game up against former Giant, former Tampa Bay Rays, Zach Littell, who's now pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. He was a big trade deadline acquisition. Littell giving up 4 earned runs and 9 hits in that ball game through 4 2/3 innings as the Pirates coming back. Top of the 5th inning in the Bronx, where the Astros hold a 2-0 lead right now over the New York Yankees. Max Fried trying to keep it that way. Bases loaded for Jesus Sanchez, big slugger for the Marlins, for the Astros, who's at the plate right now. Fried has given up 2 runs over 4 2/3 innings. Bottom of the 5th inning in Atlanta, Truist Park, where the Marlins and the Braves are tied 1-1 right now. Jurickson Profar at the plate right now after the incredible catch that he made in yesterday's performance, going up over that left field wall to rob a home run. Second best catch of the season for my money. Denzel Clark of the Athletics had one that was slightly better down in Anaheim earlier this season. Speaking of those Athletics, it's a 0-0 ball game at Camden Yards right now between the A's and the Orioles. A's 15 under 500. The Orioles 11 under 500 right now. Bottom of the 4th inning in Detroit, where the Tigers hold a 3-0 lead over the Angels. Tigers 16 over 500. Colt Keith at the plate right now in the 4th at Comerica Park. Bottom of the 3rd inning right now in Chicago, where the White Sox got off to a 3-0 advantage in the first inning against Slade Ciccone and the Cleveland Guardians. Former Arizona Diamondbacks prospect was traded to Cleveland in the offseason, the deal that sent Josh Naylor to Arizona, and Naylor probably traded at this year's deadline up to Seattle with the Mariners. Bottom of the third inning right now in Milwaukee, where the Mets trying to get back on track, and they're doing so as they lead 4-0 over the Brewers, thanks in large part to Sean Manaea, who's thrown 2 scoreless to open up that ball game, allowing just a hit and a walk, 3 strikeouts already for the former Giant left-hander pitching for New York. 9 games over 500. So if the Mets win that one, Giants absolutely need to win to keep pace and avoid falling 5 games back in this wild card race. Top of the second inning down in Texas, where the Rangers hold a 2-0 edge over the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 18 games over 500 in complete command of that NL East. Patrick Corbin on the mound right now for Bruce Bochy's Texas Rangers. JT Realmuto at the plate for the Phillies. He's slumping this season, but the Phillies have been able to pick him up. A few games later on this afternoon, aside from the Giants and the Nationals, the Padres and the Red Sox having a great series down at Petco Park. Dylan Cease on the hill for San Diego, 4-10 with a 4.60 earned run average. Brayan Bello, the ace, going for the Red Sox today, 8-5 with a 3.03 earned run average. Bello's been even better since the All-Star break. D-backs and the Rockies later this afternoon. Brandon Pfaadt, who, get this, 11-7 for Brandon Pfaadt with a 5.02 earned run average. 11 wins with a 5.02 ERA. Hard to find yourself in that position this late in the season, but the D-backs, 5 games under 500 at 56-61. The Rockies, meanwhile, 56 under 500 at 30-86 right now. We'll send Gordon to the hill. The Mariners host the Rays this afternoon. Good pitching matchup in Brian Wu, Alameda native, 9-6 on the season, 3.02 earned run average up against Adrian Hauser in that ball game. It was, of course, traded from the White Sox to the Rays at the deadline. The Rays subtracted Zach Littell out of their rotation. They brought in Adrian Hauser, but it's a Rays team that's been going in the wrong direction. Hauser, meanwhile, 6-3 with a 2.54 earned run average. Could be a coveted free agent this offseason. 2 more games to tell you about as well. The Dodgers at home today against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 18 over 500. They're actually a half game behind the Dodgers overall. Not that those two teams are competing for anything. But the Tyler Glasnow will throw for the Dodgers, 1-1 with 3.06 earned run average. And he's opposed today by the former Milwaukee Brewers left-hander Eric Lauer, 7-2 with a 2.59 earned run average. Lauer has been really good this season for the surging Blue Jays, who've been so much better at home than they have on the road. Giants saw that up close a few weeks ago. The Blue Jays understand how to hit at Rogers Center, which is, of course, indoors. It's a difficult place for road teams to go. Canada is just a different beast in terms of the road trips and the logistics. And the Blue Jays have taken advantage of their home schedule. They're 30-31 on the road, which means they're 19 over 500 at home. And Sunday Night Baseball this evening, a classic matchup in the National League between the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. Great pitching matchup as well over on ESPN at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Shota Imanaga going for the Cubbies, 8-4 with a 3.12 earned run average. And former Athletic Vanderbilt's own Sonny Gray for St. Louis, which is 59-59. Sonny Gray, 10-5 with a 4.21 ERA on the season. He was the opening day starter for St. Louis this year. So, got a big matchup today for the San Francisco Giants, who are in the midst of a huge homestand. After today's game against the Washington Nationals, Mackenzie Gore opposed by Justin Verlander, the Giants will welcome the San Diego Padres to town. We'll start 7-game in 11-day stretch against the Padres. Critical for the Giants. Faint playoff hopes at the moment. 3 at Oracle Park, and then after 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays next weekend, they will go down to San Diego for 4 next week in the midst of a daunting road trip that will wrap up with 3 against the Milwaukee Brewers, a team that's won 8 in a row, although that streak, as we just mentioned, in jeopardy against Sean Manaea and the New York Mets. Full Giants pregame show is coming your way here on KNBR. Justin Verlander this afternoon for the San Francisco Giants. And don't touch that dial. Later on today, Bill Lasky will have a great extra innings show for you as well. Very much looking forward to everything that's still to come here on our Giants pregame show. We've got Diamond Notes, we've got Around the Park, we've got the Bob Melvin Show, and so much more. It's the dog days of summer. There's no one I'd rather spend it with you, the KNBR listeners, right here on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.